We've got to talk about the seminar that we have coming up, the Rough and Tumble seminar.
Yeah, it's only 5 days away.
That really snuck up quick.
I still thought it was next week, the week after next.
Yeah. We were supposed to have a flyer out by now, but we didn't take pictures in time. It's on November 23rd in Sterlington, Louisiana. What's the name of the gym?
It is Sterlington Martial Arts Academy.
Sterlington Martial Arts.
Unless Joey has changed the name and I didn't know about it. He talked about it.
He said something about that they were going to be at a new location.
Yeah, they're working on that, but it won't be for the seminar, I don't think.
It won't be. Okay.
Unless he, again, has not informed me.
All right. Well, we'll get more info and put it out on the Instagram. But let's get more into the episode.
You're listening to the Rough and Tumble Podcast.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Yeah, so we're going to be doing a kids seminar at 10 a.m., correct? And then we're going to be doing the adult seminar at 1 p.m.
That's right. Yep. From 1 until 3.
Awesome.
Ish.
And I don't know, I still am feeling real uncomfortable about kids listening to this show. We've got I've got like I guess he's like 14 or 15. He's listening to the show.
My son's 14. He'll be 15 this year.
And
he listens to it.
Earmuffs.
I know. And I talk a lot of shit about my own son on this show.
We've got, oh man, we got to get rid of these kids off the show. No more listening, kids.
Sorry.
18 and over.
It's a disclaimer. You have to click the button that says you are 18.
Oh, you do, don't you?
No, I don't know. I'm just saying that we should probably have a button.
I think because your Nora's squeaker.
What was that?
That's Nora's squeaker toy.
I thought it was a gerbil running around the back of the room.
It might be. Yeah, I'm pretty sure because it comes up as NSFW or whatever.
Oh, does it? I've never had to click on anything.
I don't know.
Maybe it just knows I'm 36.
You dirty liars.
I know.
You're out there clicking 18 plus. We know what else you're clicking on.
I've always thought it was funny how ridiculous that loophole was.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Porn sites that have like chicks humping horses and was like, you better be 18. How do I know? Well, because I clicked yes.
Well, what are you going to do? Send in a picture of your ID? Like, nobody's going to do that.
Well, that's what I think is funny is like there's such a ridiculous loophole there. It's like, no, we already asked them if they were 18.
Yeah.
And they said yes. They have to be.
I'm sure that Apple is on it, but there's got to be like some sort of internet thumbprint that holds all that information.
Oh, I'm sure.
But then again, that would turn into like a big Christian Mark of the Beast kind of thing, and
it's true.
There'd be hell to pay for that, for sure.
Well, we're already getting there. I mean, how do you log into your all the new iPhones?
Face.
Everything's either
creepy?
face or fingerprint recognition.
That's super creepy.
I don't have any
right now.
passwords whatsoever on my phone, like none, and it's because I have nothing to hide.
Yeah.
So. Now, the worst part about having no passwords on your phones. So I think it's weird that people who are in relationships have passwords. Mm-hmm. And I've had people say, well, my wife or my husband knows my password. Well, then why do you have a password?
Yeah.
Why do you need it? But
mine is so like other people.
Yeah. And that's true.
Lizzie gets on my phone all the time. It doesn't bother me.
But like.
She knows I'm whoring. No, I'm just kidding. She knows I'm a slut. No, I'm just kidding.
The problem I have is work. I work with a bunch of people who the U.S. government has spent millions of dollars training the people that I work with. And one of their favorite things to do is to find people who don't put passwords on their phone and then take pictures of their own dicks and put them on your phone. So, yeah.
America's finest.
There you go. Your tax dollars hard at work.
Right there. So all of that to say that we have a seminar. We started that whole spiel about our seminar.
Yeah.
Kids seminar and then the adult seminar.
From 1 to 3.
Okay. Yeah, we got all that out.
Yep. So again, it's a Rough and Tumble podcast seminar, not an affiliated podcast. So there's no affiliations. Everyone's welcome. And honestly, if the fact that you belong to one affiliation is what hinders you from going and learning jiu-jitsu, then you've got bigger problems in life. Like if you're like, oh, I'd love to go train at your seminar, but I can't because my coach won't let me go do that because that coach is in this seminar and that coach is in this affiliation and they're not friends. And because they're not of this lineage, we're not allowed to associate with those people. You guys need to get with the times. You really need to get with the times. Like if you guys are still dealing with lineage problems and like my school's better than your school problems, you seriously need to get with the times.
Well, I agree. My school's better than everybody's school.
Yeah, except West Side. But
so I really had something. We had a couple people that were asking questions. I lied to you. There were a couple more questions than what I told you.
That's how it all starts.
I didn't mean to, dude. I totally forgot about it. First of all, you remember last week we were talking about LASIK eye surgery. The former, like right after that, the former head of, I think it was the FDA, came out and said that they think that they should ban LASIK eye surgery.
What?
I'm not sure why. But
Daniel Trimble's going to be upset.
what's funny is Daniel actually asked why is Mitch a pussy if he gets LASIK, if he doesn't get LASIK. I don't really understand that question.
Well, he messaged me after the show and because he had LASIK, Daniel had LASIK, and he was basically letting me know like, hey man, I had it done because my biggest fear was training. I didn't want to get LASIK and then have issues with jiu-jitsu because like if my eye gets rubbed and it peels back, and he was basically letting me know that he hasn't had any problems and his vision was pretty good. I think he went to like 15, 20 vision after the surgery, but you know, it's what's funny is I think he mentioned it went to 15-20, but has since gotten worse. But it got worse to the point where it's now 20-20. Like the degradation went to the standard, basically. You know?
Nice.
But yeah. So I don't know. Maybe he thinks maybe he's poking at me.
The other one was the other question. Yeah, Daniel's making fun of you. That's all Daniel does.
That's all right. Well, he has the body of a soccer mom.
The other question though was, and I kind of already know your answer to this, is train through injuries or wimp out and take time off.
Man, so I'm glad that you brought that up because I'm telling you, man, it's like there's like brainwaves out there that are getting absorbed.
Everything we talk about on the podcast, like the next day something comes up and I'm like, oh my God.
And so this whole week since I've been back, because I tweaked my knee while I was in Colorado on like my MCL area. And I haven't trained since I've been back. Like I have not trained. I've taught and coached, but I haven't trained. And I'm okay with that. Like that's where my mentality changed. When I tore my bicep in 2017, it killed me. I was like, I can't train. I want to train. I want to train. I want to train. I want to train. I was actually training earlier than my doctor said I should. Like I was doing dumb stuff.
Yeah.
And then now here I am. I'm like, fuck it. Like I'm injured. It's fine. So my mind state has changed because there was a time, first like 8 years of my career, where I was like, dude, everybody's fucking injured. Train through it. And now I'm like, I'm 36. I don't have a whole lot of miles left on this body.
Yeah.
You know, I got maybe 10 or 15 years left if I do the right things, you know? And so now my advice is if you are injured to the point where you can't train around it, just take time off. You can still go to class. That's the other thing people don't understand. Like, and I don't know if you deal with this, but I'll have students and I'll be like, dude, where you been? Oh man, I busted my shoulder. You can still come to class.
Yeah,
like,
you don't have to.
You just don't have to train.
Right.
Like come to class, do the drills, work through the movements. Like when you learn new techniques in class, very rarely do you actually do those same techniques in the rolls afterwards, you know? And you can almost set it up as two separate things. And so that's my biggest thing is to come to class.
Yeah.
Drill. Do what you can. And then sit out and, you know, you can work on other aspects.
Yeah.
So,
I think it's a common sense that needs to be developed. Honestly, like there's a certain point when you need to train through the injury, and there's a point whenever you need to like take some time off and not train. And I have people that come in and just hang out and like sit with me on the mats while I'm teaching and watch, and like that's no problem. You know, like I want people on the mats. That's my job.
right.
Get people on the mats. And so like. But now I'm dealing with, whenever I fought MMA, I did a lot of like, I broke my hand. I mean, like I shattered my metacarpal, and then fought 2 weeks later at the kickboxing tournament. I fought like 2 times in one day. and did stupid crap like that, you know, that I shouldn't have done, just because I was like, oh man, I'm gonna be tough. Now my hand aches all the time.
Yeah.
I have IT band syndrome, so this is one where I've had to like decide when it's okay for me to train, even though I'm injured, and when it's okay for me to take time off. When I competed at the grappling, what was it called?
Submission Hunter Pro.
Submission Hunter Pro, yeah. That one. When I competed there, I popped my IT band, and I guess that just like rubs against the bone and causes bruising and damage and stuff. And that's been hurting like crazy since, but there's nothing I can do about it. You know, like roll it out is literally the advice the doctor told me. Like get on a foam roller and roll it out. It hurts like hell. I can't do anything about it, so I just have to figure out ways to roll around it. And
that's the other thing is, as you get older, you pick and choose your training partners based on those things too. You know.
Yeah, that's true. I actually told Clint the other day, I was like, hey bro, I love you. I got to stick with the small guys. Like if my knee gets compressed in like butterfly guard or something with him on top, it's going to explode right now.
And when I tore my bicep, it was the same way. For a long time, I was only training with females and lighter opponents because I couldn't risk losing. I couldn't risk the scenario where I may have to catch their weight with my arm, you know? And so I would only train with females, and I would tell people, hey, look, man, I'm just training with chicks right now, you know? And
what a douche.
I know. I'm sorry,
training
bro.
with girls right now, bro.
You know, I was really working on my blast doubles at the time.
Putting out the vibe.
And the thing is women are more nurturing even in jiu-jitsu. Like if they know you're injured, somehow women are the only athletes I know that can control themselves in a roll. Like you tell your buddy, like, hey man, my knee is literally blown out, so please take it easy. I got you, fam. And then next thing you know, they're knee barring you. You know, and it's like, oh, I thought it was your other knee. God damn it. But with female training partners, a lot of times, like it's like it registers, and they just will consciously avoid those situations.
I'm gonna have to disagree on that.
You think
one.
so?
I've got a couple of girls at the gym. Like, I've got one girl. Her boyfriend comes back the day he comes back from knee surgery. She sees it as an opportunity to just freaking maul him and smashes him into the mat.
Well, that's a relationship issue. That's not really.
No, they'll do it to me too. If I'm like, hey, I'm injured, they're like, yeah, no problem. And all of the girls in my gym, for some reason, have, and it came from one girl. But they have like tremendous shoulder pressure and side control. I mean, they are just monsters with it. So they love to like lazily pass the guard and get a shoulder and then just grind your face into the mat. I actually watched, there was a video recently from I think it's like a Korean YouTube channel called Cutter. But they featured like a 30-minute roll session with this girl, Jessica Swanson. Beautiful jiu-jitsu. It's incredible. And I think that the girls develop a much stronger sense of technique, even more so than the guys that are at the same size, because like they're nothing but getting smashed. Even the guys that are the same size as the girls, a lot of time they're just spazzing all over them and being, you know, so the girls develop this insane technique that can't be beat.
Yeah, weight is relative, obviously. Like 135-pound athletic male and a 135-pound stay-at-home mom are very different on the spectrum. Yeah. You know?
It's the same argument as the trans athlete things.
Like I would absolutely agree.
You went through puberty as a male, so your
muscle density, your bone density
is different. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
So yeah, that totally makes
how
sense.
That's still an argument to this day, it still blows my mind.
Like
how that is still an argument. Like
we're gonna get some kind of flag.
Oh, I'm sure. You know,
we're on some list now.
I'm not saying. My whole big thing is that it's not fair to the female athletes. Like I'm not even saying that a trans athlete shouldn't be allowed to compete. I'm saying that you're seeing more and more female athletes standing up, and think about it like this. And this is a great point that was brought to my attention. So women fought so hard for equality, voting, the right to compete, you name it, equal pay in the workplace, whatever you want to say. And they've worked so hard to get their own sports Nobody watches the WNBA, but it exists, right?
Yeah.
And then
Poor WNBA.
I know, poor guys.
Girls.
I meant that in the metaphorical guy, like the inclusive guy.
The inclusive guys.
And then here comes this trans population that does include males who are identifying as females, and like all these female athletes are like, God damn it, we worked so hard. Just now, we have guys coming in saying that they're us, and they're beating us.
Yeah.
Women can't even
So
they can't even compete in their own sports.
Why isn't the argument, or why isn't the discussion ever the other way around?
Because
women that are deciding to identify as male and then start competing in male.
Because the athletic
exactly,
performance doesn't.
We don't
translate.
talk about it that
No.
way. And the only thing they could, maybe steroids. I don't know.
But even then, like.
Yeah. And I think that, you know what though? I think that they're I don't know. You'd have to look at like, I don't know what the stats are on things like track running, right? Like I feel like
already, like there is so much, and that's the thing is like the data is available.
Right. I just don't know what it is.
Yeah.
I'm saying is like, do the females run as fast as the males? No. Do they have, what about like in things like long distance or anything like that?
Nope.
No, nothing.
Hands down. And there was a story recently of a
what about ping pong?
Ping pong is hard. I mean, I would honestly believe,
dude, Lizzie's unbeatable at ping pong.
But
it's stupid.
The power behind her backhand is probably less than yours. So
you don't have to hit it hard. It's finesse. Ping pong is all about finesse.
I should probably recalibrate myself then. But no, yeah, there was a story recently.
Beat your dick in the dirt at ping
There's
pong.
no doubt. I suck at ping pong already.
I'm gonna eat those words.
And so the individual ran 1 or 2 years as a male, identifying as a male in track, and then decided like the 3rd year to identify as a female and start running for the female track team, and is beating the other women on the track team by seconds in like the sprints.
Yeah.
So if the average 100 meter is, I don't know, 10 seconds, he's doing an 8.
Yeah.
And the fastest female athlete on the team, biological female, is running in the 10s.
Mm-hmm.
But here's the other thing. He never won anything as a male athlete competing as a male. He's won everything competing as a female.
Yeah. That makes sense.
I think that's, in my opinion, that's disrespectful to the female athletes.
Oh, it absolutely, yeah.
But it's like, how do you handle that scenario?
Right.
Because he has a right to identify the way he wants to identify, but they also have an equal right to be able to compete against.
Why can't people be different and that be okay?
Yeah.
Everybody wants to be unique and different and have their own abilities or whatever, but then everybody wants to be the exact same at the same time and on the exact same field. It's like, no.
And it's like we talked about last episode where we discussed female participation in special warfare, right?
Yeah.
With naval search forward and stuff like that. They're allowed to try out, but the standards just don't change.
Right.
And so I mean, you can have eventually we're probably going to see a male that identifies as a female making it onto one of those teams in special warfare because it's allowed. Well, I don't know. I think the policy was the other way around for trans. I can't remember, but I don't keep up on it because it's not something I deal with on a daily basis. As far as the military's stance on trans and stuff like that, I don't.
What a strange, like, a male identifying as a female that then decides they want to go out for special operations in the military. Like, what was the thought process of that one?
I know, right? Because theoretically they would have the physical aptitude. Yeah, it'd be a strange thing. And we're going to see it eventually. It's going to happen if it hasn't already.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see where it goes.
Yeah, that's just weird. That wasn't where we were supposed to be going on.
It's okay. That's typical.
Whatever. No, we actually, another suggestion that we had was kind of, well, no, I guess not. QAnon is another one. I knew this was going to pop up, and I knew that it was going to pop up from this person too. Because actually they're the ones that him and his wife, they don't even know it. They're the ones that got me paying attention to it because I'd seen something that one of them shared or something, followed a girl that I think her name is like Robot Interiors or something.
That's an awesome name.
And so I started following her, and dude, I don't know. I feel like she lives in cuckoo land. And I love the people that suggested this. I love you guys.
No, for sure. Because I've heard of QAnon. Like one of my favorite podcasts is the Last Podcast on the Left, and it has Henry Zabrowski, Marcus Parks, and Ben Kissel, and they mostly cover. They're kind of like the Death Metal Dicks guys. They cover like true crime stuff, but they do it in a much better version. And they've talked about QAnon a few times, but I didn't know exactly what it was. I had to go and do a little research myself.
The Pizzagate conspiracy that popped up years ago, where the guy went into the pizza place looking for the Clintons' secret pedophile dungeon underneath. And like, I think he like fired a gun inside. I don't think he even shot him. I don't know.
No, yeah, because he thought he was. Yeah,
I don't think that he shot anybody, but I don't know. Anyways, that's connected to it. I don't know in what or how.
Here's the thing that I never understood, right? So talking about
any of it?
No. I followed that stuff on Reddit for a long time. Like one of my favorite subreddits is conspiracies. Yeah. And so I follow that. Sometimes those people get a little weird. And
QAnon got banned off of Reddit.
That's the thing. That's the crazy thing. Reddit has been known as an open source community, and then you go into the conspiracy side of things, and you see people getting banned. That you weren't even allowed to talk about Pizzagate on Reddit.
But that's part of the issue. Is like,
right?
Do you allow that kind of crazy thinking and talk?
But what if it's not crazy?
Right. I agree. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I understand that. Like, there's this everything that we do. Like, if you ban them, is it a part of the conspiracy, or do we let it keep going and let it get worse? Like, how do you deal with that situation? You can't. There's no right way to do it.
I think so. I always equate it to this. You played Nintendo, right, when you were a kid? Because we're roughly the same age. And you remember when you could buy like the Game Genies for the Nintendo, so you get all the cheat codes, and then you could find cheat codes for all. Everybody was always looking for the cheat codes for games. Then they stopped playing the games because once there was no longer a challenge,
it was.
You just never wanted to play it anymore.
Yeah.
When you have the amount of money that these people have, imagine whatever you want, you can have. Yeah. Whatever. You never have to work for anything. You'll get to the point where you lose the ability to feel satisfaction in basic things.
Right. I think I agree with you on that. And I think that pedophilia in politics and Hollywood obviously are big things. What I don't believe though is that it's hard for me to believe some of these conspiracy theories. For instance, the only one that I can think of that I can make sense of is what is it? Is it called contrails?
Yeah, chemtrails.
Chemtrails. I always call it contrails. I don't know why.
Because contrails are the actual condensation.
Okay, chemtrails. You've worked on. I mean, you work in the Air Force. I've worked on like public airplanes, like been on the ramp and all of that stuff. Never do I think that anybody could get away with putting something on one of those planes,
right?
That of that magnitude and that often, like. Hey, those people that are throwing bags on your plane and refueling are fucking idiots. Like,
all of them. And
I was one of them.
God bless all those people, but you're right.
Yeah.
I mean, we've
I don't get me wrong.
Your luggage gets lost often for a reason.
There's a lot of good people and a lot of smart people that do that, but like, there are also a lot of really stupid people. They're not as safe and not as locked down as you would think they are.
No.
I would be amazed if anybody could get away with any conspiracy just for the sole idea that people are stupid and people talk.
So when it comes to chemtrails, the idea is that it's not like it's not like Delta Airlines,
right?
It's a CIA funded, NSA funded program. Now, do I believe that it's true? No, I think that it's just as ridiculous as Eddie Bravo saying the Earth is flat. Like what it come down to is somebody who didn't understand basic condensation and atmospheric changes, and said, "Oh my God, those trails coming out of that aircraft look like they could be chemicals. They must be chemically altering the atmosphere." And then they ran with it, and because we have the internet, it turned into this giant thing.
Yeah. It's so easy to connect the dots afterwards. You know, like to look back on or look outside perspective of something and then put the dots together that you want to put together.
So here's the thing. So what people don't realize is you lose roughly 1 degree of temperature for every 1,000 feet you travel, right? So if it is 35 degrees Celsius, and then you travel 1,000 feet above sea level, it gets colder and colder and colder and colder to the point where you're actually up in those 40,000, I don't know why my brain's not working. The altitude, you know.
Oh, 40,000 feet?
Yeah. I was trying to think of the metric system. And so when you're at like 40,000 feet, you're in the like negative temperatures, right? So at 40,000 feet, the atmosphere out there is in the negatives in the Celsius. The jet engines are producing massive amounts of heat.
Yeah, that's basic. I mean, that's
basic science.
Yeah.
No, so listen to what you just said. You said it's basic science. There's a group of people out there that don't fucking get that.
Yeah.
Like, so you and I have this conversation about how basic understanding that is, and the heat doesn't dissipate from the atmosphere.
Right.
So their argument has always been like, well, if it was just condensation, then it would evaporate and go away. Why is it sticking around for so long? Because the atmosphere is so cold and the heat doesn't escape. Where is it going to go? Like it expands, but that's what you're seeing these condensation trails that are sticking around due to atmospheric conversions and stuff like that. Like, it's not hard to understand. And I'm not a smart person.
Sames. We should probably at least define QAnon. We haven't really given it. It's basically a far right conspiracy theory, quote unquote conspiracy theory, because it's we don't know. And detailing a supposed secret plot, an alleged deep state against the U.S. President Donald Trump and his supporters. That's straight from the Wikipedia article. And another interesting thing about this is that they, I think that the Republicans are using this kind of talk and this kind of idea as part of their campaign platform. There's a lot of talk about conspiracy theory within like Donald Trump's
100%.
campaign, and I think that they're on board with this. They also have a picture of, I'd like to point out a picture of a sheriff wearing a QAnon badge, and then right next to it looks like his Minecraft merit badge.
Right. The sickle and axe and sickle.
Yeah. What is that?
It talks about it. It says that it says that it's
good. Yeah. That's
I had to find it. And so this is the part where you're supposed to pick up my slack.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Speaking of conspiracies, I was thinking the other day that if there's...
Yeah, that's what it was. Good. Came back in. Here we go. Yeah, so the sickle and axe is supposed to be the actual like patch for that particular SWAT team.
Oh, okay.
So that's just like a team patch for his SWAT.
Well, way to make the team look bad, buddy.
Yeah, no.
Now you're all over the internet.
He's super geared out. I don't even know if that's a QAnon patch, though.
QAnon started on 4chan. It was basically I'm remembering watching some of the, like, now that I'm reading through it, I'm remembering the posts that were happening on Reddit and this person I follow on Instagram. Anyways, there was a forum user that started posting, and from what I understand, they were posting like very cryptic messages in 4chan.
Right.
And people are like trying to put it together, and they're an insider in Donald Trump's campaign, and basically the idea that Donald Trump is actually the hero, and he's got it all figured out, and he's kind of dismantling the U.S. corrupt government and is fixing everything. There was a couple of movements that popped up. There was like the Storm and the Great Awakening, and I think the Storm was like, that was like when everything was gonna blow up. Everybody was gonna.
They were gonna like
out.
Drop the bomb on like the metaphorical bomb on everybody, like
right?
The knowledge bomb,
right? Yeah. I don't know. I mean, these conspiracy theories, like, I wouldn't be surprised either way. I'm not surprised by anything anymore as far as all of that goes. You know, like, it's just, dude, there's no telling. There's really evil people, but also people are still people. You know, like, we're stupid by nature and we slip up and make mistakes.
I 100% believe that it's real.
And it's really
100%.
The QAnon?
Oh yeah. I think that now here's what I don't believe, because it talks about like what QAnon is, and so
I can't tell if you're fucking with me right now.
I'm not fucking with you.
Okay.
So the essence of the conspiracy is this, and this is the part I don't believe, because I think this part is retarded.
Okay.
It says that there is a worldwide cabal of Satan worshiping pedophiles.
Yeah.
Who
you don't get to
rule the
pick
world.
and choose, Mitch. That's a big part of it.
I know. They rule the world essentially, and they control everything. They control politicians, they control the media, they control Hollywood, and they cover up their existence essentially. And they would have continued ruling the world were it not for the election of President Trump. So now, I believe pieces of that. I don't believe that there is a cabal of Satan worshipers out there, because
If you said all of that without the Satan worshipers part of it, it's believable.
yeah, it is. I think it's almost like when I read stuff like that, it's like there's a group of them sitting in a room, and they're like going, and this one guy's like, going on, and he's just like, they're ruling this, and they're taking over Hollywood, and they're doing this, and then the one guy in the back is like, I heard they were Satan worshipers, and they're like, put it in, put that in there,
And we're going to Vermont.
I
I don't even remember what presidential candidate that was.
John McCain.
No, that wasn't John
Bernie
McCain.
Sanders was going. He's the one that went. Wow.
No, it was a different one. There was a different one that was.
It was John McCain.
No, I promise.
And we're going to Vermont. Was that even a real one?
We're going to Vermont. Pia! They was like, we're going to Minnesota. Pia!
That's John McCain.
No, I don't believe you. I really feel like that was somebody else. Anyways, that's such a classic. That's like the first meme, the first viral meme.
I'm gonna type it in.
I believe that there's probably a small group of very wealthy people that control most of what goes on with our government as well.
It was
as
Howard Dean.
Howard Dean.
I don't even know who that is.
Yeah, right. Because they killed his campaign with the with that video. It was
You know something? If you had told us 1 year ago that we were going to come in third in Iowa, we would have given anything for that. And you know something?
I like how it says that.
You know something? Not only are we going to New Hampshire, Larkin, we're going to South Carolina and Oklahoma and Arizona and North Dakota and New Mexico. And we're going to California and Texas and New York. And we're going to South Dakota and Oregon and Washington and Michigan. And then we're going to Washington, D.C. to take back the White House.
It says the scream that doomed Howard Dean.
Man, one moment of passion just ruined his entire life.
Poor guy.
I kind of feel bad for him now. Like, that's horrible. Like, he made a sound and now it's over.
I know.
Okay, so yeah, I believe
He looks a lot like John McCain.
a lot of it. That's why. Okay, that's why Mitch got it screwed up.
All white guys look the same.
Yeah. I believe some of it, but I just don't believe that. I don't think Donald Trump is the
No,
hero
I don't
that's
believe in
saving
that
the day.
piece, but I think if you take any great conspiracy, it's all rooted in salt and pepper truth.
Yeah.
Like the assassination of John F. Kennedy, you look into that, like there's evidence to support the fact that Lee Harvey Oswald acted alone, but there's also evidence that supports the fact that he was assassinated because of his ties with the Cuban government.
They lost John F. Kennedy's body for 30 minutes or something.
They're like,
They don't know what happened with it, and then
there's always a Carl.
they were damn it, Carl.
God damn it! It's probably the same guy that lost a foot whenever he was doing the crime scene photo cleanup.
Yeah, there was something else where
That guy's just bouncing from job to job, he just
fucking things up.
fucking things up.
He's Mr. Bean of the corner world. The coronary arts.
It's what it is. Oh, that's fucking hilarious. Just the
Mr.
thought that
Beanham.
like this one guy, like he lost a foot at the crime scene for the Boys on the Tracks. Then he lost John F. Kennedy's corpse for like 30 minutes. And like, but it's some comedic thing where like it rolls out the back of the hearse and like he doesn't notice. And then he has
He's
to pull
running down,
He's
down
chasing after him.
downtown Dallas, chasing the stretcher.
Yeah. Oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah, so that's all I have to say. That's all we have to say about QAnon. We didn't really say anything about it.
I can go on. I could go on for hours about this, man.
I mean, like, it's all. You could all put it. You could write the story yourself.
Jeffrey Epstein is a perfect example, and I know that's a hot topic right now,
Yeah.
you know, because he didn't kill himself. But the thing is so the second autopsy came out about Epstein, and it showed that like he did not hang himself. Like,
Right.
And that's the other thing. There is a video feed in his jail cell showing exactly what happened. Nobody knows where it's at.
Yeah.
It's never been released. And
Right.
that's all the evidence in the world. Like when you have an entire country saying he did not kill himself, that there's a conspiracy, and you have the one piece of evidence that could show that you are all wrong, and it never comes out.
The problem about this, though, is that there was never this up until the past couple years, up until this recent election, I would say, I don't feel like there was this conspiracy that Jeffrey Epstein had a bunch of
Knowledge.
no, that he was a pedophile and blah 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 blah.
Right.
But there was people coming out about it, and there were people that were saying this and talking about it and who knew about it, but there was never a conspiracy that seemed to pop up until recently. Does that make sense?
Yeah, well, because it was all being covered up.
There's evidence and all of that. So I don't know, dude.
He was a convicted sex offender.
Oh no, I'm not arguing that he's a.
So the evidence
that he's
was
a
there that
pedophile.
supported that.
But that's what I'm saying is like all of this evidence. This has all been said before, long before he was even put in jail or any of this even popped up. You know, there were people that were coming out about it. There were people that were saying that these things were happening, but there was never this widespread conspiracy. So where's the difference? Where's why are these other things turning into major widespread conspiracies, and this is something that never popped up until all of a sudden?
The Epstein thing?
Yeah.
Well, because I think the people who, as long as Epstein was alive, it was all hidden.
Right. So what's stopping them from doing that with all of these other conspiracy theories?
I think they're trying to get out. I think that Epstein was the one that hit closest to home.
Dude, I don't think that there's nothing that you can tell me that makes me believe that there's a person that's going to 4chan and posting
I don't
cryptic
think
messages that
right.
we're supposed to decipher. Like, come on, guys.
I think that is silly.
You really think that?
But look at Edward Snowden.
Yeah. No, it absolutely could. It could.
That's exactly what he did.
I just
not in 4chan, but you know, I mean, he discovered the FISA court stuff, and he discovered that you know, we were essentially monitoring. It was like 5.4 billion people, which was 1.5 billion was Russia. And so whenever they like did the map, you know, and they looked, the U.S. government was monitoring over half more in the U.S. than they were even in Russia.
Yeah.
And so like they were logging like 1.5 billion people that they were looking at, emails, text messages, all this SMS, stuff like that, and 5.4 billion in the U.S. And when he released all this information, he released it kind of in a weird way like that. You know, he didn't even want credit for it. He just gave these reporters the information and then had them disseminate it before he ever even released who he was as the source.
But that's kind of my point right there, is that he gave it to a credible source to release.
That's a good point.
There's no credibility in posting anonymously to 4chan.
Agreed. If you're that powerful of an informant,
and if you had the information and the evidence that something was going on, you'd be able to get it to the hands necessary. If you're able to type it out on 4chan, you're able to get it to the people necessary.
And that's the other thing, is 4chan is not like this encrypted, firewalled thing. It's, you know, you know how easy it'd be to find the IP address of that individual?
Right. Yeah.
So, I mean, and I think that's where because I'm not very savvy in the computer systems world or the computer science world. When I saw the movie Hackers with Angelina Jolie, I assumed that that's what the internet was and that it was that easy, and it's not. And so that's what I think people in this situation aren't understanding, is that there's no encrypted devices unless the guy has like an IP address hider and he's in, you know, maybe.
There's ways around it.
Yeah.
I don't think that he would.
But if you had that type of intelligence,
if it's his deep state, as he says,
you would go other ways.
Yeah, he just wouldn't be able to keep it up for that long.
I agree. And I just think 4chan is the wrong venue for that in the first place.
The messages that he posts too, he'd post like, the storm is coming. And
they'd be like, hashtag look into it.
The world is goddamn burning. That could be anything. You know what I'm saying?
True.
Like, you could say that the storm is coming anytime between about 5 years ago and within probably the next 10 years. And,
well, how long have we been waiting for Jesus to come back?
Right. And it's like, you're going to catch somebody with that. Somebody's going to be intrigued and triggered.
They say that the Q in the QAnon piece is a reference to the Q clearance required security-wise.
Okay.
But I don't know. I mean, that's just like one of the people that had mentioned like the Q being part of the Q security clearance required.
Has there ever been any evidence posted, like hard evidence that anybody's been able to find on the person that's releasing the information?
Not that I know of.
Dude, we ought to try to go on 4chan and start something.
I can probably find them.
Like, start I want to start, like, our own conspiracy theory.
Oh, it'd be easy.
Start posting real cryptic stuff.
Yeah.
There's, dude, I get into these YouTube rabbit holes, and there's, like, specific videos that describe rabbit holes that you can go down, you know what I'm saying? And I'll watch those. And there's one called The Dad Channel. Have you ever seen that?
Mm-mm.
It's so fucking weird. It's like this bald guy that he is like in this room and it's real blank, and it's like he doesn't talk, but everything is like voiced over, so it sounds like he's thinking it and then it's talking. And but he's like supposedly in the YouTube server, and he's like enslaved, and every once in a while he'll get out and he'll appear in like the background of other people's videos. And like the whole thing, the guy is an actor.
Yeah.
Like everybody knows who this guy is. And then that guy claims that it's absolutely not him.
Oh, what the hell?
And that it's a deep fake and he doesn't know how it's working and blah, 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 blah. But
so then what bank account receives all the money from his millions of views?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
well, there's also, there's a thing called the ARG. It's an alternative reality game that people will do on Twitter or on YouTube, where they'll create a scenario like that. Or another one, for instance, that I've found is this guy posted on Twitter. The Twitter account was like, the sun burnt out, or where did the sun go, or something. And then the guy's first post was like, help. Next post was like, the sun has disappeared. Like it's 4:00 in the afternoon and the sun hasn't been up.
So it's just like, people writing their own stories.
Well, and then he'll post videos of like, these robots are like coming through with lights and all these scary things happen or whatever. So like they're creating this basically like a detective game for followers to start trying to dig into and figure out and try to catch him faking it, you know? And so like they're trying to make it as realistic as possible. You're trying to be like, oh, we saw the other guy over there, like try to ruin the game or try to put together the pieces to solve whatever puzzle the people are presenting. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And it'll even spread across multiple
like
platforms.
Twitter, Facebook.
Right.
Yeah.
For instance, they'll post a bunch of stuff on Twitter and then they'll post a YouTube video. And within that YouTube video's got like some hidden code that you can only tell if you know Morse code and if you do something to the audio in it or something. That code leads you to a website and you like have to put all these things together. And
then at the end, when you find the treasure,
nothing happens.
It's just a timeshare advertisement.
This has been popping up recently. Speaking of timeshares, we were talking about our seminar. I think that's the perfect opportunity for a time traveler to show up.
I agree.
Because these podcasts and that advertisement will be on Apple Podcasts forever.
Mm-hmm.
And so in the future Jonny, if you have access to time traveling, meet me at our seminar.
Did I ever tell you?
You'll know what I look like. You'll know who I am.
You'll know me when you see me.
Yeah.
Did I ever tell you about if telemarketers, if they would, because telemarketers are super annoying.
Yeah.
And when they always call and they say, can I speak to Jonny, please? This is Jonny. Jonny, I would like to talk to you about your warranty on your vehicle. And then you're like, no, and then you hang up, right?
Yeah.
But if they would start the conversation with, Jonny, don't hang up. It's you from the future.
Yeah.
At the very least, you're going to be like,
I would just wait. I wouldn't say anything. I'd just wait for the next sentence.
to make sure it wasn't a recording.
Right.
Not me. I'd be like, go on.
My grandma gets called like pretty frequently, apparently, with and the first time it happened, they used my voice saying that I was in jail in Florida and
I think I remember you telling me about that.
She went and she called me.
She drove to Florida.
No. She called me and I didn't answer. So she went straight to the ATM to get money to.
Oh my God.
Like a fucking G, dude.
That's legit.
Yeah. She was like, well, I got you like $2,000 to get out of
Is that going to be enough? I don't know what the charges are.
Are you hungry?
I brought sandwiches.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. My grandmother, when she had a fax machine, it was around 2006, 2007 timeframe. And she called me and she said, Mitch, do you have a fax machine in your office? I said, of course I do. It's the 21st century. And, or is it the 20th century? What century are we in right now?
The 21st.
Okay.
Yeah, because 0 through 100 would be the first century. 100 through 200 would be the second century. So it's one behind.
Okay. I knew it was something like that, like one ahead or one behind. I couldn't remember.
Yeah.
So it's the 21st century.
Yeah, one ahead.
Yeah. So we're in the 21st century. So anyway, my grandmother said, okay, what's your fax number? So I gave it to her. I didn't know why. And then like 10 minutes later, I got a fax from her. And all it said was, hey, Mitch, it's Memo. If you get this, fax me back.
She's just like texting. Yeah. That's awesome.
So I did, and we had it was the longest conversation in history. Because,
we should start that. We should do we should buy a fax machine and plug it in here, and then you can fax us during the show. see what kinds of pictures we get of things, and
that would be hilarious to have like the ability for people to fax us things in like live on the show.
You know how difficult that would be right now, though? We would have to get a landline.
It would be,
and then we would have to.
Yeah, who has landlines?
Yeah, we'd have to set up.
And then you have to dedicate one to fax numbers. Yeah.
No, that would be too much. Surely there's an easier way now.
Yeah, it's called text messaging.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm saying like with faxing, like surely you can like email me something.
I don't know that people fax anymore.
Off.
I mean, I know that the technology still exists, but I don't know that people even do it anymore.
But well, I know my grandma does.
Yeah.
Because sometimes I'll call and the fax machine will pick up. But the surely there's a way that like I can email you and it automatically prints out on your printer.
Well, did you ever watch that that episode of The Office?
Yeah.
Whenever they were creating Wolf, because Wolf was if you got a, it was the temp's attempt, like he was creating that multi social media platform.
Yeah.
And so he got a text, and then all of a sudden he got a fax at the same time. Like it was your ability to be able to connect your phone to all communication devices.
Oh, okay.
And so he got an email, a text, and a fax all at the same time. And then he had a pager, I think, and he got like a page on his cell phone or on his pager. That was a really great episode.
Overboard. That was a great show.
It was a great show. I really hated the last season though.
Yeah, when they had like Will Ferrell as the boss.
Yeah.
They were like, why would you pick Will Ferrell to be an angry, overbearing boss? Like,
I think he took it too far. Like,
yeah.
I love Will Ferrell's character in most shows, but in that one, I think he went overboard.
Right.
But people liked it. It was hilarious, I guess. But
you know who my favorite? Have you ever watched Dr. Steve Brule?
Mm-mm.
Have you ever seen Tim and Eric's awesome show?
I know of it. I haven't watched a whole lot of episodes.
John C. Reilly plays him.
Oh yeah, he does all the weird.
This is Dr. Steve Brule here for your health.
He made a bunch of memes that way.
Yeah, he picks up a banana. Everybody knows what this is. A squash. But
It's a banana.
fucking kills me, dude. So good.
It's like it reminds me of Will Ferrell's skit on Saturday Night Live. The when he played Harry Carey, I think it was.
Yeah.
Hey Norm,
it's Harry Carey here.
if you were a hot dog, would you eat yourself? I would.
We should probably talk. Lizzy's not here.
I know.
We haven't
Yeah.
even talked about that. There's a big empty gap in the show right now. So this episode is mostly just bullshit in the air, fueled by me and Mitch. Lizzie just didn't want to do it today. She had a bunch of other stuff she had to do, so I relieved her of her duties, and she will no longer be with us.
Ever?
No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, I was gonna say.
No, she'll be back.
I always find this stuff out at the worst time.
Right, dude. I already told you about this, but I had I gotta stop texting you when I get excited about stuff. I had, out of freaking nowhere, there's a movie that came out in, I think it's like 2005 or something, called Choke.
Yeah.
Where a guy from Tulsa, a kickboxer, was preparing to fight Rickson Gracie. He ended up having a Vale Tudo fight in Japan, and got his like vertebrae snapped, and had to back out of the fight with Rickson Gracie. I think even in the documentary, they made it look like the guy just
Pussied out.
Yeah. But anyways, that kickboxer came in to roll at the gym yesterday.
I thought that was pretty insane.
Dude, and I didn't even know it until after open mat. Jared's over against the wall talking to him, and they're laughing, and Jared just goes, "Dude, do you know who this guy is?" I'm like, I mean, yeah, he came in and we rolled.
Signed a waiver.
Yeah, like, I know his name. He's like, "No, you moved that movie Choke?" And I'm like, "What?"
No way. Yeah, so his name was Wayne Emmons.
Yeah.
Was his name.
Isn't
Or
that nuts?
Emmons. Yeah.
Yeah, Emmons.
Emmons.
He is a grizzly bear. His hand is, I've never seen I would never want to get punched by that guy.
Well, and that's what's crazy is his MMA record was terrible.
Yeah.
He was like 1-3.
Yeah. So, yeah, I get it. I mean,
I don't know what his kickboxing record was. You know?
Right. And that era of MMA and Vale Tudo was so much different too.
Oh, absolutely.
Because I have friends that fought in that era of the Vale Tudo and stuff. I have a friend that fought for an hour and a half.
Oh
It
God.
was on YouTube.
Well, if you ask the Gracie family, Elio Gracie holds the record for the longest fight. I think it was like 2 days long, something like that. Just 48 hours straight of just fighting.
2 days of
It was
fighting.
mostly him playing guard.
Well, he's snacking on potato chips to fuel himself. Because that's a part of the Gracie diet, potato chips and oranges.
Potato chips and oranges are part. You're just not allowed to mix carbs with fats. So you can eat potato chips and oranges, but if you throw some cheese in
is
there,
this real? Do you-
yeah, I'm dead serious.
Okay,
Yeah.
I know that. I actually do know that from watching a documentary on like Horion or something, that oranges are like a big part.
Fruit mostly, yeah.
They said specifically oranges, and you couldn't eat oranges with a meal. It had to be by itself.
Oh, because it's acidic. You're not allowed to. Yeah, you can't mix acidic foods either. So it's about pH balance and stuff like that. And that was one of the pieces. So like, you can have oranges by themselves because of their acidity, but you can't mix it with something else.
Yeah. Oh, we got a listener. One day it'll be a viewer when we get a stream thing. We got a listener that's getting ready to compete in his first tournament. You told him to lose last time.
No, I didn't tell him to
episode.
lose. I just told him that he should be ready to lose.
God.
I had somebody text me or message me on Instagram that said that they're just going to take my approach.
Yeah, that was him. That was
Okay.
Scott. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna take your approach and go ahead and lose.
Yep. Well, I mean, you learn a lot when
Yeah.
you lose. So believe me, I've been losing for a long time.
But
So-
he's got a match coming up. He's also gonna start a podcast, and I told him we should start a Rough and Tumble podcast network.
There you go.
'Cause
And then
apparently
he can pay me.
that's-
us. I mean, us.
Think about it, bro. If you get a couple people to sign up under you, then you'll start making money, and then
That's
a portion
true.
of that goes to us.
That's true. That's when you start having meetings too.
Well, so like I guess I don't understand why.
Which I think this is a great time to talk about the Rough and Tumble protein shake that we're going to be.
Crow's milk.
It's crow's milk.
Apparently, like in podcasting, it's popular and it helps promote to be a part of a network, but I don't understand why, because like, especially if I'm the one that's running the network, because I'm not going to advertise any more than I already do.
I know.
And so it's like, how am I going to then start a network? I guess like, you can share fans and go back and forth.
The Last Podcast on the Left does that. They have the Last Podcast Network, and it has like Abe Lincoln's Top Hats on there.
So why can't you just do that in
by
general
itself
with your friends? You know what I'm saying?
I think it's a hosting thing. So maybe like taking advantage of like the hosting piece of it, where like maybe.
Oh yeah, I did see something about that.
Something like that. I don't know. I'm guessing.
We can have multiple podcasts on our host. So
okay.
Like he would, I'm not. This is just what I'm thinking how this works. But they would pay you a fee to use that host, a rental basically, and then you would promote through there.
Yeah, because the Last Podcast on the Left, I looked it up. I think they make $30,000 a month in their Patreon.
Yeah. Guys,
So,
we need to step it up. We don't even have a Patreon donor this week.
We got rookie numbers right now.
Speaking of Patreons, we don't have nobody donate. We haven't really been pushing it that hard, though. We do have, now that Mitch is back, we'll be pumping out content.
Yeah.
I posted a video that I recorded last week, and then I have yours finished and edited, so it'll be going up this week.
Did you make it to where we're doing it not in your garage?
Magically, we will be in the future. We decided last time we're not going to do it in my garage anymore, because we do everything so professional, and then we go in the garage.
And you can see like there's a piano in Johnny's garage. I don't know what it's there for.
Well,
it's just there.
I bought the piano for $50,
obviously,
and then when we moved here, we just never got it inside, and it's too freaking heavy to move around.
Yeah, it's a piano.
So, if you want to help me move a piano after this, I'm going to have to figure out what to do.
That's how you know your real friends are.
We're buying a house.
Oh, that's
Did I
right.
tell you about that?
Well, you told me you guys were possibly moving to Jacksonville.
Yeah. Yep. Well, it looks like we are.
You guys buying a house together?
Lizzie's buying a house.
Oh, so you're going to be her roommate.
Yeah.
Nice. It's probably the best way to do it.
Well, I mean, we're kind of splitting it in our own special way, but
yeah.
She gets sexual favors from me,
100%,
and then I get room and board.
Yep.
So that's how it works.
That's your standard Kentucky shuffle right there.
Standard Kentucky shuffle. No, we've got like a whole acre of land, and it's really nice. I'm excited about it.
An acre is actually pretty good too. People don't realize how big an acre is.
We got stupid cheap. The house is really nice. The only issue is, we should probably bring this up too, is we may not have a place to do the podcast for a while. So it may be a little bit of a traveling podcast. Here's something cool. I actually want to try this out. It's right down, probably 3 doors down from the gym is a recording studio.
Really?
And they have
that's
services.
where the podcast network comes in. Now everybody can come and record at the recording studio.
Yeah, but then we would have to pay them. We would have to have like our own recording studio.
Yeah.
And then how would he, he lives in Florida.
Oh, he does?
Yeah. So he wouldn't But I have another thing.
Know that
actually, I've been kind of talking to people about just using our area. Because we only use this 1 day a week. Might as well, I've got people who are like, oh, me and so-and-so are thinking about starting a podcast. I'm like, well, I have a studio that's being used.
We're inspiring everybody. Here's the difference.
That makes us an influencer, by the way.
That does.
We're
does that mean we get a blue check now on an Instagram?
I filled out an application to be an influencer for a comic book
really?
publisher. Yeah.
Is that where you people pay you to talk about their product?
Sometimes they'll pay you, and then in this case, basically they send me free comic books, and then I post on Instagram. I'm like, dude, that would be the coolest. It'd be cool to have clothes and stuff, but I can't think of a better thing to get for free on a weekly basis and just get to read a comic book and then.
Do you remember the time in your jiu-jitsu career where jiu-jitsu was everything, and you're like, oh man, my dream life would be to just train all day and whatever. If there's people that are they're like, man, I wish I could just get somebody to like pay me to train all day, and that's all I would do. But then like when you do this for so long, I just would find so many other better things to do.
Yeah.
Like if somebody was like, I mean, don't get me wrong, I love teaching jiu-jitsu, I love training jiu-jitsu, but like it's not my identity. You know, at one point it was. There was a time where, like, for a good 5 to 8 years where it was my identity.
Yeah.
And all I wanted to do was train and work out. And now I'm like, I'm kind of thinking about getting into rental properties.
As somebody who's done that, like done the, like, I lived it. I when I opened the gym, I lived in the back of the gym for 1.5 years. And that, I mean, you've been back there. It doesn't have windows.
No. Yeah.
It's like a prison cell. And it's very much like a, dude, it wasn't a good life. You know what I'm saying? Like, I started to drink real heavily because I was bored. I didn't have anything to do. I would like, honestly, video games is what saved me. My dad bought me an Xbox 360 and a bunch of games. And so I would train, I would teach class, I would train, and then I'd go in the back and play video games. And then I started drinking heavily because I was getting bored. I had nothing to do. I didn't have any friends in that area. I couldn't drive. I had a scooter. That was all I drove on. So like I lived that life, and it's rough. It is rough.
You know, speaking of that, we talked about, we spent a couple episodes talking about straight edge and things like that. And so in your experience, because you said you were drinking heavily and stuff like that. Do you find now that you're older, because you're what, 33?
32. Yeah,
32?
33. Mm-hmm.
So you're in your 30s. Like, do you find that you in your 30s still drink and kind of, not party necessarily, but like, do you still do those things as much as you did in your late 20s?
I went through an interesting phase whenever I first started drinking. I was 25 when I had my first drink.
Because you were straight edge for years before that, right?
Yeah. And so I had my first drink, and then my girlfriend at the time was a bartender on Dixon Street in Fayetteville. So then I started getting free drinks everywhere I went. My best friend at the time, he was a running back for the Razorbacks. It was like star running back for the Razorbacks. So then when we would go out, we would get free drinks everywhere we went. I was a professional MMA fighter. So everywhere I went in that area, I was getting free drinks and stuff. And so I got like stuck in this like Dixon life and doing that kind of thing.
Now is Dixon, is that like kind of like...
That's like the bar street.
The bar street? Okay, yeah, because New Orleans has or not New Orleans, but where Baton Rouge, where LSU is, like you have like the same thing, like the strip that goes along that way. Yeah,
and so I would that's part of why I needed to get out of that area and open my gym, was to get out of that. But that habit followed me a little bit. Now that I'm older, I don't drink hardly at all. Yeah. But I have other vices that I do probably just as much, if not more, than when I was like partying and drinking. They're better vices, I think, for myself, but still not necessarily ideal for where I want to be in my life. Right. But I think that everybody has those. Everybody has something that they rely on, that they kind of a crutch or whatever.
I think so too. I never really I never got to party at all, because growing up my dad was pretty strict. He's a retired police officer now, but back then he was a police officer. Like I wasn't allowed to go anywhere and do anything. Like I remember one time I got really into racing cars, and before I joined the military, I'd moved out of my parents' house. I was living in my first apartment by myself at 18 years old. And there was a little street racing scene in the town that I lived in Shreveport. And we went into this like shopping district area that was, it wasn't abandoned, but there was nobody there. So we were racing, you know, and then all of a sudden like 15 cop cars just come blasting through into the parking lot, you know? And I remember thinking like, well, that's overkill for like 5 cars, but they had gotten reports of street racers. And so they send the cavalry in. Yeah. And I remember as soon as I got out of my car, I started going, I literally did an ocular pat down of every officer that was there. I was like, okay, you're not my dad. You're not my dad. Yeah. You're not my dad. Like I freaked the fuck out. Right. And And so I didn't do a whole lot. And then I joined the military and went off. And
oh, you went crazy in the military?
No, I didn't, because I was married and I had a kid.
Yeah.
And so even then I didn't really party a lot because I had responsibilities.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was married for 10 or 12 years. And then I got out of the military. I got off active duty and then spent a year as a civilian, but I was also remarried with a family. So I never did anything then.
Yeah.
And then her and I divorced, and I was single, still in the military. But the time that I was single, I had sole custody of my daughters. So I was a single dad.
Yeah.
So I never got to do it then.
Right.
And so I never really went through that phase. But then what I found was for about a year, probably 6 months, I'd say 6 months to a year recently, I was drinking a lot more, like recreationally.
Yeah.
Like, I was like getting like during the week, Yep. I was like, this doesn't make any sense. And a big piece of it also was that my fiance was my drinking buddy, and we weren't getting like irresponsibly drunk with our kids and stuff like that. But, we'd put some beers back and we, anytime, especially during the summer, when we're doing all
Wait a minute, your wife's pregnant. Your fiance's pregnant.
My fiance is pregnant.
Is that who we're talking about?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. She wasn't pregnant at this time.
He's been drinking a lot.
And then I started finding that it was affecting my personality.
Yeah.
Where like we were fighting a lot, and it was like when I would get drunk, maybe things that I hadn't dealt with in my past would come up, and I didn't know, I couldn't filter them out anymore. And so this past summer, like I pretty much stopped drinking altogether.
Yeah.
And honestly, and the reason I asked the question is because it's insane how much better your quality of life is when, and here's the thing, and I know people are going to be like, well, you just can't hold your alcohol. Yeah, no fucking shit, which is the reason I stopped.
Yeah.
Right? Like I'm aware of that. And so I made that conscious decision for me, my family, and the people around me. I was just like, I got to stop. And it's weird because it sneaks up on you.
Yeah.
Like you don't realize it. You're just like, fuck no, I'm not. We know alcoholics, and I wasn't an alcoholic, but I had a problem when it came to drinking. Right.
Yeah. I was putting back those like 12 packs of Blue Moons.
I was drinking a lot of White Claw.
Same. See, now I have like, I'll have like a weekend or a night where I am like intentionally seeking to get drunk that night. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm out to have a good time and I'm going to get shit faced. But like we went to my best friend's bachelor party, and the first, I talked about it on here. The first night I was like, I had overdone it by 5 o'clock and needed a nap. And then they got me, they revived me with shots. And then the next night I was in bed by like 8:30 and just missed the rest of the night.
I know.
And I'm an old man now, dude. I'm not a party guy.
That's why I asked, because I know we're both in our 30s, and Joey, the guy that we're going to go do the seminar at his gym, he went through a pretty dark phase with substance abuse and stuff like that. And, he's recently started, I don't know if he's still winning the fight against nicotine, but, that dude, I've never known that dude not to have a giant dip in his mouth.
Yeah.
And supposedly, as of right now, he hasn't dipped in several weeks, probably months. I don't know.
We'll be checking on you, Joey.
Yeah, we'll check into that. I won't notice.
I'm gonna mount him and then pull his lip down. Let me see in them lips.
But he hasn't touched a drop of alcohol in years.
Yeah, that's great. Because
of the same situation where like it was affecting his family. And so what I think is interesting about it is that the straight edge community is taking almost like an anti-political stance in their representation of not drinking, not doing drugs and things like that.
Yeah.
But in a strange way, me as a family man have the same, we're doing it for the same principles.
Yeah.
But the course that drove us there is drastically different.
Right.
Isn't it weird?
Yeah.
And so
I've never had a problem with, well, I think I was headed to where I was going to have a serious problem, but I have always, with alcohol in particular, been able to say, okay, enough is enough, and need to slow down. And I've never really struggled with that. Like, I drank a lot and I went out and partied a lot because I was addicted to partying, I think.
Yeah,
and
the social activity,
the social aspect of it, more so than the drinking. Once I was like done with the social part and the partying, I was kind of done with it. There wasn't anything else to do. I wasn't going to drink anymore. But training, honestly, is the number one deterrent for me because I have a rule for myself. I've always told myself, and I did this whenever I was fighting MMA, was if I'm brave enough to drink the night before, I'm brave enough to train the day after.
That's good, yeah.
And so if I got drunk, my punishment was I got to train. And sometimes I got through it, sometimes I didn't. And I ended up freaking hurling guts outside of a window in Brazil because of that philosophy.
Yeah, it's been several months since I've even gotten buzzed. And because the thing is this.
I got buzzed last night.
Did you?
Yeah.
Alcohol wasn't the enemy. I was the enemy. It was the influence that alcohol had in those situations that drove me to be what I would do. And so I was telling Joey the same thing. I was like, man, it's like, for me, I was of the principle that there's no reason to drink socially.
Yeah.
If I'm drinking, the goal is to get drunk.
Right.
Why would you drink otherwise?
Sometimes I want something in my hand.
Yeah.
And that's honestly what will get me drunk.
Yeah.
It's because I'm like, okay, I've had enough, but it kind of feels awkward to stand around in a bar without a beer
With your hands in your pants.
And if I have my beer in my hand, then I'm going to drink it every once in a while. And for 20 minutes later, I'm going to need another beer.
That's right. Yeah. And for me, I even told Joey, I said, for me, the challenge, I actually enjoy the challenge of being able to, like, my cousins were in town this past weekend, and me and my cousin, we just split a 6-pack. There was a time where I would never have been able to do that.
Yeah.
Where I would have been like, okay, I'll get a 12-pack and you can have a couple of them and I'll drink the rest. Right. But I think I embraced the challenge of being able to be able to make myself make those adult decisions.
Yeah.
It's kind of, I know it sounds weird, even hearing me say it doesn't make a whole lot of sense of what I'm trying to say.
Challenging yourself. That's all it is. It's challenging yourself in a different way.
Yeah. It's a challenge, and it's sad to say that it's a challenge because people be like, why is that such a challenge?
Because it's self-control.
It's self-control.
I mean, like, why can't you stop eating sugar?
Yeah. Right.
Like, I ate a cookie with damn near every meal. Like, I'm the worst sugar fiend, dude. But it's stupid stuff like that.
Yeah.
Why can't you stop tapping your foot?
It's true. Yeah.
And there's all kinds of little.
Try not to blink.
Yeah. There's all kinds of little things, dude. I had a. Have you been to Trader Joe's yet?
I went in Colorado.
Okay.
I haven't been to the one here.
Fuck that place.
Yeah. It's super expensive, right?
No, it's
everybody says
cheap.
that.
It's cheap and it's great, but
I think I did it wrong,
dude.
Then.
Oh my god, I had a legitimate anxiety attack inside of Trader Joe's
because there were so many people, or because there were so many awesome things.
Many people.
It's gonna be like that for a little bit.
Dude, and like, here's the thing: is they were stocking at the same time that on a Saturday mid-afternoon, like while people are trying to cram their
prime time
through this place. And then there's like grandmas that are stopped in front of me and think it's a good time to talk across the aisles.
Right.
And it's so crowded that there's literally one lane going this way and the other one going the other way.
Because it's not a big store, is it?
You can't. No, it's tiny.
Yeah, because like
it's not like a grocery store. It's
I've only been to the one in Colorado. I haven't been to the one in Little Rock yet.
Yeah, it's like you would think that it'd be like this big, like a Harps or something, like a big.
That's what I expected when
warehouse. It's not like that at all. It's got like that low ceiling built in like a shopping center.
Yeah.
No,
I spent a lot of money when I went when I was in Colorado, the key to making money on these trips that we go on that the military pays
cooking for yourself
is cooking for yourself. So like, because you get a per diem. Well, if my per diem's $55 per day and I'm there for 17 days, if I can buy 17 days worth of groceries for $100,
you're making money.
I'm making money every day. I'm not spending it, right? And I spent about $109 at Trader Joe's for groceries, and it worked. But I just remember thinking, like, man, I feel like I should have gotten a lot more for this amount of money. But it was in Colorado, so maybe that's where the price difference comes in.
I think it's owned by Aldi's. Have you ever been to an Aldi's? That's the place where you have to put a quarter in the shopping cart to rent the shopping cart. Have you ever been at one of those?
Ridiculous.
It's a really good idea. It's to prevent people from stealing the shopping carts. Basically,
I didn't know that there was an epidemic.
Well, homeless people do all the time.
True.
I'm not gonna point fingers, but homeless people. Now there's like this little device that's on the handlebar, and it's got a chain that locks into the the shopping cart in front of it. The only way to unlock that is if you put a quarter in. Your quarter's stuck in there while you're shopping around.
And then you get your quarter back?
When you plug it back into another shopping cart.
Here's my thing.
But a quarter is...
It's not hard to come by a quarter.
Right.
So this deterrence, I don't know.
These were created in a different economy.
I think so. Yeah, because if a homeless guy or a girl...
Now you have to walk up and scan your Venmo.
Exactly. And it puts $100 hold on your credit card until you bring it back.
When I went to Florida, I had $1,000 hold on my on my debit card for a hotel room.
Yeah, they'll do that.
Dude, I've never been to a place that's put that big of a hold.
I've had it happen a couple times.
Who has that kind of fucking money?
Nobody.
I mean, the only reason I did was I have a gym. You know, that was it. And Daniel was not happy with me for that.
I've seen that happen. I've gone on trips because we have a government travel card that we can take. We go with us.
Okay, yeah.
And I've seen that where like I'll randomly call to check my balance to make sure I'm not overspending. And because sometimes you go a couple nights, you grab food here, grab food there, and you'll get away from you here.
Yeah.
And then so I'll check the balance, and it was like $2,000 more than what I thought I had spent, and I was freaking out. And then I would call, and they would go, "No, the hotel pre-charged my account for the amount of days I was going to be there."
Yeah.
And they're not supposed to do that because if you check out early, then, well, I shouldn't say they're not supposed to do that.
They shouldn't be
allowed to do that. And then that hold will stay on for a couple days after you check out.
Yeah. It's insane that they can take out money whenever they want, but they can't put it back.
No.
It always takes like a week to put it back. Yeah, that's incredibly irritating. Do you feel like you're a good person with money? Do you feel like you're like good with money?
So yes.
You just gave me two exact opposite answers.
Well, because no, in the sense that I don't like to think about money, right?
Okay, yeah.
And so my fiance takes care of all the finances in our house.
I'm really good at ignoring it and pretending like I just don't think about that bill. Then I won't have to pay it.
I make jokes all the time that when I'm with friends and stuff, and when my debit card says approved, I always like rejoice because it's always a 50-50 shot.
Yeah, same.
But the truth is that my fiance handles all the money, and she does a great job at it because. Not that I can't do it. It's just one less thing I don't want to worry about.
Yeah.
Right. And as a leader, it's important that you're able to disseminate tasks down. Right. And
so what's yours? What did she put on you?
My task is making the money.
Oh, okay. I'm fucking awful with money. I'm so bad with it.
It's easy to get away, to let it get away from you.
I have too much stuff I want to do.
That's the problem,
and
right?
To me, I'm always like, so take the podcast, for example, or my graphic design. Like, the biggest thing that's slowing me down in my graphic design is my computer. Like,
your computer's too slow?
Yeah, my design progress, my design process is start up my computer, go play video games for 30 minutes, then come back and start up the program. Go play video games for another 30 minutes.
Is it because it takes so long for it to load?
Really? All of it. Like,
that sounds like my teen years when I was looking at porn on AOL.
Yeah. like I'll play music for 20 minutes and then I'll be able to move the mouse again. And like,
so you need a faster processor or whatever.
I've cleaned it up and stuff. But so for instance, like that, right? Like, to me, when I have $2,000, I'm like, I'll buy a computer because then I can design more things, make more money, and that's paying for itself. But it never works out that way. You know what I'm saying? Like,
no.
I'm not making that kind of money yet. And so I can't justify that kind of purchase. Or like, I want to buy a new camera or a thing for it. And
it took me a lot of years to not have to worry about money. And, because the military is all I've done. Almost. So I'm 36 and I've been in for 17 years. So whatever the math is. So is that like half my life, right? Almost half my life. And believe it or not, the first 8 years of your military service, you don't make a lot of money.
Yeah.
You don't really start making good money until you've put in over 10 years.
But you get enough of a signing bonus to buy a Dodge Charger.
Yeah. I got one sign-on bonus
Mustang
in my career, and it was $2,000. Yeah. And then after taxes, it was $1,800.
Did you put a down payment on a F-150?
No, I ended up, I did use it as a down payment on a Honda Accord.
Okay.
Only because I flipped my Honda Civic upside down in a field.
Nice.
My first duty station, I was going way too fast in my little Honda Civic, and this lady like veered into my lane, and I drastically overcorrected.
Oh yeah.
Because I see her, and instead of going like a slight veer and being like, hey, pay attention, I was just like, Jesus Christ, and then fucking cut hard to the left, and then lost control, cut hard back to the right, and I was just like, it was like that scene from Anchorman 2 where they're flipping in their in the RV and it's in slow motion. I hit a curb and literally flipped upside down and slid into a field, and so I needed a car, and that's where my first sign-on bonus. And I have not received a sign-on bonus ever since then. And it wasn't.
Well, you've only signed on once.
Well, I've re-enlisted several times.
Okay,
so usually you'll get a re-enlistment bonus if the job that you're doing requires you to, like if they're undermanned and stuff.
If it's like a job that's important.
Yeah, which mine isn't. Like my buddies who are in the special warfare world, their re-enlistment bonuses are $90,000.
Jesus.
So every 4
they're
years.
also like, you're probably gonna die. So yeah.
Exactly. Well, that, and it's not necessarily, yes, there is that, but so the re-enlistment piece is not to encourage them because of their life expectancy.
Say that they're probably gonna die.
Yeah. But their life expectancy is not the issue. The issue is that the skills that they have obtained
that's true too.
are marketable, right? So you could get a contract working for any agency doing the same work and making $700 per day. And so it's really, when you have a staff sergeant, E5, who is a TAC P guy, which is Tactical Air Control Party, and he's making a day, $150 a day, you know, which is roughly $45,000 a year. And then you say, hey buddy, I can take you and you can make $700 a day doing the same exact job.
Yes, please.
And you just have to work 3 months on and 3 months off. You get every 3 months, you get to get off for 3 months straight, and you don't have to do anything at all. You can just do whatever the hell you want.
You just get to spend all the money you made.
Yeah. You know, you're making 6 figures a year at 25 years old with a task that the military paid you to learn. So that's where the bonuses come in. It's because, one, it's the pipeline to train those guys is like 3 years long. So they invest a ton of money in you just to turn around and lose you. You see it a lot also with like medical career fields in the military as well, because the amount of money that it costs and stuff. So,
do you feel that whenever you signed up for the military, you were the stereotypical guy out of high school signing up for the military?
I signed up because
were you that personality?
Well, I don't. What be more specific about what personality?
What do you picture of like the kid out of high school that's signing up for the military? You know, that has nothing else to do, nothing going from. Like,
that was me. Because I'm the oldest of 6 kids. My parents.
I'm looking for a reason to talk shit about you, basically.
I'm working on it.
Okay.
So I was the oldest of 6. There was no way I was going to pay for college. I didn't have the ability. There was no way, discernible skill wise, I had spent most of my time working as a waiter.
Yeah, you said
right. Yeah, and so
catfish, please.
Yeah. Thanks for remembering.
I remember things.
And so the reason I joined the military was because it was my understanding that they made a lot of money. Yeah. I was like, well,
I kind of see that's why I said, like, you can take your signing bonus and buy a Dodge Charger, because that's exactly what the person that signs up for the military does.
100%.
It's like the blue belt in Jitsu that is looking for sponsors but never competes.
I
was exactly that guy.
That's a great analogy, because
the MMA fighter, I was that guy too. Yeah.
And you see your young airmen, in my case, young soldiers, young airmen, whatever. In my case, you see these guys, and that's exactly what it is. Like if you go through the dorm parking lot, on base, every one of them, they're driving like 2019 5.0 Mustangs. Yeah, there's guys driving BMW M3s, and I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? Yeah, and then but they're not paying for where they're living. Right, their paychecks all go to that vehicle. Yeah, you know, they have no credit. So they're making like $900 car payments, you know.
My dad, whenever he signed up for the Army, I think he was that guy, and now is like one of the most. I respect him more than anything, but like I think it took a lot for him to get to that point, and I think the Army really is what gave that to him.
It's the truth. Same thing with me, you know. now, my truck is almost paid off. My fiance's vehicle is almost paid off.
You're gonna say your fiance is almost paid off.
It takes a lot
also
to get her.
Typical of the military.
I know a couple of 90 Day Fiance situations.
That is the best show on television.
It's getting ridiculous though.
Well, I've heard that a lot of it's like set up to
I can only imagine.
boost like people's acting careers and stuff.
Yeah, like the whole Chantal thing where like the dude from Puerto Rico and all.
I love Chantal.
I love Chantal. And then they have a separate TV show. Mm-hmm. And it's about, and then like I did some research and like that's not her real name. Like,
right.
And then it never talks about like what her family does, because her mom was like a cheerleading coach. But it's like, what does your dad do? Because they are rich.
Do you know what I found out yesterday? This is totally going way off topic here. Michael Venom Page?
Nope.
Do you know who that is? I almost swear that you do.
Michael Venom?
Yeah, he's kickboxer, fights in Bellator, really, really flashy.
Maybe I do.
Jumps around, throws a lot of like spinning kicks and dances a lot like when he's fighting and stuff. Okay, so his father, Curtis Page, who is a world champion kickboxer, was recently, or is right now, fighting charges of sexual abuse to an 11-year-old.
Get out of town.
Dead serious. Yep. Has 3 or 4 charges against him from several different people. Allegations of him.
Is he a coach somewhere? And that's where these are coming from?
He's got a martial arts studio.
And that's where the charges are coming from?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
So whenever they were young, it was quoted as he's charged with grooming and molesting these children. And all of the females, I think there was like 4 or 5 females that came out against him. Every single one of them didn't have a father. Yeah. And they were saying that they were looking at him as a father figure.
Dude, we talked about this in the last episode, man.
Yeah.
I spent 3 weeks during our, learning about our personal protection module where we talked about the grooming stuff, man. It's real. There's a great book out there called The Gift of Fear. I would recommend everyone go read it. And essentially it talks about like multiple situations where people have made terrible mistakes in life that have led to them becoming victims. Right. It's the idea of you should be fearful of things like that and learn from that gift of fear. It's a really good book, but there's another one called Left of Bang, which is kind of similar to that. And it's a really good book as well. But, so I had a situation similar to that where I was not, obviously victimizing children, but when there was a Taekwondo instructor in Cabot who had gotten in trouble, right? And all it said was martial arts instructor in Cabot under investigation for whatever, right?
So you're going to get lumped in with that.
Well, I was running a gym in Cabot at the time, Gracie Jitsu of Cabot, right? And my commander, I wasn't at work this day, but my buddies told me afterwards. They said that the commander came in to my work center and was like, "Did you guys hear about that pedophile in Cabot?" And everybody was like, "Oh, yeah." And then no shit goes, "That wasn't Mitch, was it?" And I was like, "God damn it, what are you talking about?" No, it wasn't me. But
the martial arts world in general is plagued with instances like that.
It is. And I think it goes back to people are placed in positions of power over other people. Yeah. It is fake power though.
Well, and I'm sorry to traditional martial artists out there, but
it's pretty rampant.
You're fucking weirdos, dude. Like they're a lot. I mean, I'm going to say a good like 90% of the hard traditional martial arts nerds, those people that really just devote their life to it, are fucking weirdos. There's a lot of them that aren't. What do
you think contributes to that? Because I will agree 100% with you. In my experience, and if we've got traditional martial arts guys out there that are listening to us, you know what the fuck we're talking about. Yeah, you know exactly. Like, don't play.
And here's where I struggle with this is like my coach, he comes from a traditional martial arts background. He is a weirdo, but not in that way.
Right.
He's not like that. He's one of the most respectable men that I've ever met. And but a lot of the people that follow him, a lot of people that are really can be weirdos.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think that any of them would touch kids or whatever. But I think that something about martial arts draws the socially awkward.
Do you think that it's... So here's my hypothesis is so people will typically start doing martial arts because they're bullied.
Yeah.
Right. So obviously if you're bullied, statistically speaking, you are weak or weaker, or else you wouldn't have been targeted. Right.
Right.
It's not your fault that you got targeted. You know, it's the bully's fault for having problems, but you were targeted for a reason. So then you discover martial arts. Right. And you get into Taekwondo and karate and Kung Fu or whatever it is. And again, those martial arts all have valuable lessons to be taught, but there's not a lot of physical contact in the sense that Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu will typically weed out weaker people.
I don't think that you can, because Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu's had its fair share as well. I mean, Hermes Franca was one of them. Did you hear about him?
No.
He's in jail right now.
Gotcha.
He's in prison.
For what?
For like several years ago, he was arrested. The charges were like 12 counts of unlawful penetration.
Oh, man.
Yeah, and I don't know if that's each...
What's lawful penetration?
Yeah, I don't know if that's... I don't want to make fun of this. Okay, anyways, the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu world with the stuff with Lloyd Irvin and stuff, you can't say that it's less likely to happen in the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu world, because I think it's...
No, I'm just talking about the...
But I get what you're saying though too. What I think it is that they isolate themselves. It's the same reasons that cults and weird things pop up, is because they put themselves in a bubble.
But why do you think that traditional martial arts attract the weirdos, as opposed to in as a whole? You don't see that in MMA and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu or wrestling or Sambo.
Yeah, well, it's something that's not tested as much. You know, like MMA, Jiu-Jitsu, these kinds of sports, judo, these are things that are built on being tested constantly. Every day you go to class, what do? You free roll.
Right.
And that's you challenging those skills. It's
so do you think it's
challenging the idea?
Do you think that the leadership in those traditional martial arts schools are basically people who grew up without power? I think I will say, I guess I kind of agree with you. It does reveal character and chases those out that might be looking for weak people. But I don't know. Because you see
there's
that.
There's so many arguments that can be made about it. There's a lot of just the community that's interested in traditional martial arts. Just the socially awkward kids, you know.
But that had to start somewhere.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right. Well, in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, it was fucking cool.
Yeah. And they romanticized 90s, the whole thing, right? And then you had all the action films, because that's something you don't see anymore.
Right. I think MMA for sure has cast them out. For sure. But I don't think that that's made it any worse or less as far as like the things that are going on inside the community. No,
I agree. I'm not saying that the jiu-jitsu and MMA are immune from the abuse side.
Right.
You know, my question was more so,
we're going to get to the bottom of this.
Why is it that that traditional martial arts typically, if we walked into any Taekwondo school right now, the majority of the teenagers and adults in the class would be a very particular type of person.
Yeah.
You know, whereas you walk into any Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu school, mine, yours, wherever, the teenagers and adults in those classes are not those same people.
I will say this. Here's the difference. The people in the traditional martial arts world, I feel like traditional martial arts, that idea that like the behavior that arises that seems to come out of that is very pedophilia type behavior, as far as like the bad side of it. Obviously, we're only talking about that side of it, right? The things that comes out of the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and MMA world is more like date rape kind of things,
right?
You know, like there's still raping people, but raping people of their age.
Yeah.
And stupid things like that.
So it's almost like their MMA and jiu-jitsu breeds a type A.
We're tiptoeing on
right?
some dangerous territory.
So so you have more of
it's a very predatorial
style.
I guess so would pedophilia. I can't say that's not predatorial, but I feel like that's more grooming. And well, no, you can't say it. I can't.
I know.
That's such a tough situation.
But there's something there,
right? Because like there've been several instances where date rape has popped up, and things of that sort. Even here recently, I saw it on Facebook. And I don't know this person. They keep popping up in my timeline, but they were talking about one of their female students was hit up by some guy out of California claiming that he had come through their gym and like at an open mat and like tore everybody up and tapped the coach out and that whole spiel, and then was like, "You're pretty cute, like too bad you weren't there, we could have gone to a date and I could have done this and that to you." Oh, Lord. Typical dude bullshit. You know. But then sent him also a link to his Pornhub account where him and then some other girl have sex on the Pornhub. Yeah, and like just randomly drop that in some girl's inbox, I guess.
That's like that.
It's that kind of behavior.
Yeah, it's much different because you definitely don't see that type of you know what? I think it's a confidence thing because you in traditional martial arts, there's I think even though it's cultish, but you still see it in the MMA community too, in the jiu-jitsu world. But like, I guess there was a joke to be made in this whole thing when I was thinking about it, was like, it's almost like MMA and jiu-jitsu because everyone is so type A in a lot of ways. Yeah. You know, I know that we have people in the gym that disagree. You know, I know Zachary would disagree because he's not type A. Right. But as a whole, statistically speaking. Yeah. Generally speaking, we're just breeding more aggressive perpetrators. You know, that's really what it is. Like, they're more overt in their attacks.
That's what I'm going to say is we build too much confidence and they have this like false confidence where they can slide into all these girls' DMs.
I know.
And do terrible things.
You know, and it's so funny whenever you said that the guy was like, oh yeah, I tapped everybody in the gym and I tapped the coach and stuff like it's a weird turning point where you don't have that mentality anymore, because I'm sure there was a time where when I was a brown belt, people would probably agree that I had some arrogancy in that, you know. But now, even if I know a person sucks, I still don't talk shit, you know. Like, there are instructors throughout this country who run gyms and they're not as good as me. They're not as good as you, you know, but you learn to find the value in them as people. And so instead of going, yeah, man, I wouldn't go there, man. I pretty much fucked them up. I wouldn't waste your time training with those guys. Yeah. Instead, it's like, no, they're good dudes. Those are all good guys.
That's the only thing I'm concerned about.
Yeah. Like, it's weird how you change. And you find that the younger fighters will have that mentality of thinking that the amount of people you beat up is what impresses people. Right. And instead of the value of their character.
Haven't beat up a lot of
it's because
people.
you haven't beat up a lot of people.
Yeah.
Right.
It's the opposite is true.
Yeah, I had read something I'd read something that talked about fighting and stuff, and it was basically like, if you'd ever been in a real fight, you might not be in such a hurry to get in another one. Yeah, you know. Actually, it was from Letterkenny. It's a great show on television, by the way. If you haven't watched it, people go watch it. But yeah, it was one of the things where he talked about it. He was like, if you'd ever been in a real fight, you wouldn't be in such a hurry to have another one. Mm-hmm. And it's true. Like, if you've ever had your ass beat in real life, you're not in a hurry to find another ass beating. No, you know,
and you never know who.
No,
or what. Yeah, like I feel like I'm a good example because I think when most people look at me, they're not thinking like that guy's gonna beat my ass. Yeah. And I'm probably not, but
at least you have.
I know I have the ability.
A set of skills. Yeah. You're right.
It's an interesting, like, the people that say the least are usually the most that have the most, and that's. Yeah. I had something too I was going to say, but I totally forgot what it was. Whatever.
It's unfortunate.
Yeah. I don't care anymore.
That's the second time Johnny's lost all hope to live during the podcast.
Yeah. I do want to talk about. Okay, so I've been thinking. I want to bring a special guest on, to ask him one question.
Mm-hmm.
I have a friend that, for the sake of privacy, we'll call him Rimpy.
Rimpy, got it.
We say that because his name is Rimpy. I want to bring him on the show because I want to ask him. There was something that happened years and years ago at one of my other friends' bachelor parties. We're in Little Rock, and in walks in and sits down next to us Drake.
The singer?
Drake, the singer.
Okay.
Okay, like Drake, sitting right next to us. We do what everybody, what you would expect us to do.
Mm-hmm.
We looked at Rimpy and told him to go talk to him.
Right.
And we're like, Rimpy, go talk to him. This is your chance. We wouldn't fucking do it. He just wouldn't go talk to him. So then later on in the night, we're out drunk and we go to a bar. We're at another bar and Drake walks up right next to us.
Was he by himself?
Yeah, he had there was a group with him and stuff.
Oh.
And Rimpy wouldn't fucking talk to him. Like, we could be right. I wouldn't even be on this podcast right now. I'd be too good for you if Rimpy had talked to him at that
That could have been the moment.
So I want to bring Rimpy on and ask him why he didn't talk to Drake.
Well, it sounds like he was scared.
There's only 5 people that understand what I'm talking about right now, but worth it. Just because I want to bring him on.
What's the most famous person you've ever met in your life?
I met Sugar Ray Leonard one time.
That's pretty
He
good.
watched me fight and came back and told me I was a good boxer.
Really?
He was like, yeah, man, you got good hands. I was like, thanks, man. He probably
Yeah.
said that to everybody you talked to tonight.
Oh, he has to have said that for everybody.
Yeah. He was at an event and had to be
Yeah.
there. I've met people like that, famous fighters and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Not really any actors.
I met Robin Williams one time.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
He was super nice.
Yeah. I would imagine.
It was when I was deployed. He had come over to do a USO show.
stuff.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And really hairy in real life.
Yeah,
really
I can
hairy.
imagine.
He I don't know that he knew what he was going to do. He came out on stage and was talking to us and stuff like that. And it was a pretty intimate setting. It wasn't like this big arena.
Yeah.
It was a very small event size wise. And he started talking and making jokes like he didn't really have anything prepared. And then he just went into, he did his entire live on Broadway deal, which was one of his biggest stand-ups that he had done, but it'd been years since that had come out.
Mm-hmm.
And he just he just did the whole show, and it was pretty
Oh, wow.
awesome. So you got to meet him afterwards.
Yeah.
And I remember one of the things that stood out to me was there were all these contracted security guys around him, these civilian contractors that were protecting him and stuff like that,
Mm-hmm.
and we were all trying to come up and shake his hand and talk to him and stuff like that. It was an organized line. People weren't being ridiculous. But these contractors kept stepping in so that you couldn't get too close to him. And I remember Robin Williams literally looked at one of the guys and was like, "Dude, back the fuck up."
Yeah.
He's like, "These guys are fine."
Right.
And the guy was like, "Oh, okay."
It's
geez,"
probably their one opportunity to
Yeah.
have one up on the military
Yeah.
guys. You
And
can't get close to them.
and I just remember he made a big deal about making his security just go the fuck away.
Mm-hmm.
This was his time to spend with us,
Yeah.
And so I got a picture of him, shook his hand, told him thank you. I didn't get a lot of time with him, but on that same USO tour and that same show was a young lady named Leanne Tweeden, she was a sports announcer. She was on a
feel like I
show.
know that name.
Yeah, she was a pretty attractive young lady, and she was a female sports analyst.
Oh my God, no way.
I know, really controversial. Coincidentally, she was also on the cover of Sports Illustrated
Oh, yeah.
that same time frame. And so, whenever people found out, they ran to the BX on base to try to get a copy.
Yeah.
And of course, the BX only had 7 copies,
That was probably the one that they actually had to have security for.
Right.
Yeah.
But she was standing off to the side with her own little group. And then a guy named, I always forget his name. I don't always forget his name, but I'm forgetting it right now. But he was the dad from 50 First Dates. He was the character at the end
Robert
of
De Niro?
No.
51st Dates.
He also was the guy in Joe Dirt that was only wearing maggot. And he was like, "Oh, you like to see homos naked?"
Wait, did he play in Waterboy?
Yeah, he was
Was he that-
he was the same. He was the assistant
same guy?
coach. Yeah.
Yeah. And
So
he
I'm-
talked like that?
Not in real life, no.
I
He's from
meant on
Georgia.
Waterboy,
Yeah,
yeah.
in Waterboy he did. So I met him too. I actually have a picture with him and an autograph, and he you could tell that he was like, he knew that he was not as famous as Robin Williams.
Yeah.
So he was just kind of like sitting off to the side, just chilling. And like, the line for him was not very long.
Yeah.
But he was super nice, super cool. But yeah, so Robin Williams is probably the most famous person I've ever met. Vince Vaughn, I met Vince Vaughn also right around the time Dodgeball came out.
I haven't met any of these kinds of people.
Yeah.
No actors. I met Eddie Rabbitt when I was a kid. He's like a famous country musician.
Never heard of her.
Got his the female Eddie Rabbitt got his autograph before he died, and then that's like it.
I'm trying to think of any other people.
I saw John C. Reilly. I met Vanderlei Silva at an airport.
You do a podcast with John Cena every day.
Yeah, that's true. I'm pretty lucky.
They started shooting a lot of movies in my hometown after Katrina because Louisiana has really low
everything
movie taxes, right?
Yeah.
Education, movie taxes, really high teen birth rate though. But so there was a lot of my dad and my brother-in-law had met a lot of famous people that way because they were police officers, and so they would do security and stuff like that. So it was pretty cool because they shot Battle of Los Angeles was shot in my hometown. The Guardian was shot in my hometown. Premonition with Sandra Bullock was shot in my hometown. Nice. Yeah, there was like a ton of great movies. Yeah. Roadhouse 2. Get out. Yeah, I'm not fucking around. I Spit on Your Grave, the remake from the original 1970s movie. Yeah. That was shot all in my hometown. Nice. And it's weird because like I'll be watching these movies and I'll look and I'll be like, man, that just looks like back home. Yeah. And I'll Google it and it's almost always back home.
You know that new True Detective? The new season in True Detective?
I haven't watched any of those, but I've heard good things about the show.
The newest season was filmed in Northwest Arkansas.
Really?
And there's a lot of like places that I'm familiar with. And have you ever watched Bruno, the movie Bruno? Mm-hmm.
With Sacha Baron Cohen? Yeah.
There's a lot of that's done in Fort Smith.
That makes sense.
The MMA fight? Mm-hmm. That was in Fort Smith.
Were you in that fight?
No, they ruined MMA in Fort Smith for a while
because of that movie.
Yeah, like nobody would put on fights and
because they want to they want to be made fools.
They don't want to have dudes humping each other. Yeah. Like I would have walked out just because I was like, okay, this is stupid. Like I don't want to watch this. They had people like throwing beer cans and threatening violence, but I was like, okay, this is just not what I wanted to watch. So
I walked out of that movie.
Yeah,
I did. I went to go see Bruno at in theaters, and because I had seen the one he did before that, Borat, which was really funny,
comedic gold,
very funny. And then he like went way over the top with Bruno, and about the 7th or 8th dick I saw, I was just like, this is too much.
Like, dude, I have a computer, I can look it up on my phone.
I can go. And so I walked out. I never finished the movie, and I've not seen it since. And then there's a movie that Sacha Baron Cohen is doing now that's like a serious movie where he's like a
he's doing like
a spy or something like that.
He did I've heard that there's some comedy in that. He did a TV show recently though, where he went like undercover to talk to like different politicians and stuff.
Like when the Borat thing?
No, he did like I can't remember the one that I remember seeing. He dressed up as he was like an Israeli,
the dictator.
No, he was an Israeli like self-defense master. No, and he was helping this like I don't know where they were like Louisiana. We'll say Louisiana because that's where he's from. It was like a Louisiana senator or something. Somebody that would obviously be racist and afraid of gays and stuff. And so. He convinced him to say like "back off me, homo" or something like that, and like he convinced him to say the N-word and like all this different stuff, and just like making these people look like fucking idiots because they are. Yeah. But just making sure that the world gets to see it, and just catching them in these little traps.
Have you ever seen the movie The Life of David Gale? It's a really good movie. I had seen it years ago. I watched it the other day on Amazon, and essentially it has Kevin Spacey in it before I guess he was raping people.
I don't know if there was a before we found out
about it, right? Yeah. When he was actually a respected actor.
Did you hear about the guy that like there was somebody that tried to like fake being molested by him?
No.
They like
It's super easy to do.
they like faked a bunch of text messages to their girlfriend, like, I think he's hitting on me. He's touching my leg, and like all this stuff. And then finally
So
he like
ridiculous.
pulled it back and was like, okay, that didn't happen.
That's so ridiculous. But the movie is essentially he's a death penalty abolitionist, and him and his partner end up finding a way to get the last laugh and essentially prove that innocent people are put to death every day.
Oh yeah,
You know.
there's tons of them.
Oh, absolutely. Well, the Westminster Three were almost one of them. You know. Like,
Yeah. That's the other one that we talked about.
Man. Yeah, that one got really and well, because it's local. I mean, that was West Memphis, Arkansas.
3. That's a really popular one. And see, I'm always afraid to talk about these because they've been done so much.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, I don't know. We can make fun of them.
Well, there's no new conspiracies.
That's true.
You know, there's no new.
There is QAnon.
True crime. QAnon, yeah, but like,
there's all kinds of new conspiracies.
They still don't know who killed those boys. Like,
Right.
if you believe that Damien Echols and those guys didn't do it, then you have to believe that someone else did. And there's no, like, they don't even have a clue. They have no idea. Yeah. And the only reason that Damien Echols and those guys got off was because DNA evidence proved that 0 of their DNA evidence was anywhere near the crime scene. And in a crime scene like that, you're going to have DNA evidence.
Why can't
somewhere.
like happy stuff happen around here for us to talk about?
It does.
Like what?
Well, have you ever?
Let's think of topics that we could cover on the show that are happy things that are from Arkansas. We have. Here's the things that I'm thinking of that are topics, not happy things though.
Right.
We have Japanese internment camps here.
Yeah, we do. That's true. At Fort Chaffee, right?
Yeah, we have the whole Mena, Arkansas thing where they were smuggling drugs through Mena, Arkansas.
Which could be a good thing in certain situations.
Depends on what drugs they are.
Yeah.
The Boys on the Tracks.
Mm-hmm.
The West Memphis 3. What good has happened in this area?
I'm gonna see real quick. Hold on.
But then again, you never remember like good things that happen. You know, like nobody gives a shit about those. They want to find out about murders and
Fun facts about Arkansas.
fun facts about Arkansas.
Let's see.
Bill Clinton was born in Arkansas.
Bill Clinton.
He was the governor.
It is nicknamed the natural state.
Yep.
If you didn't know that, the state tree is the loblolly pine.
Yeah, I did know that actually.
You know what the state book is?
The Bible.
The Holy Bible.
Is it really?
I'm not
no
fucking
shit.
with you. I'm not fucking with you. I'm not. It says the state book is the Holy Bible.
Oh, fuck off, Arkansas.
That's hilarious. The state song is called Arkansas.
The state alcohol is water.
Yeah. The state bird's the mockingbird, which is almost kind of funny too. White-tailed deer is a state mammal. State instrument. You want to guess that one?
Banjo.
Close.
Mandolin.
Still close.
No. I don't know.
Fiddle.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Makes
fiddle.
sense, right?
Makes sense. Did you know that the banjo and what's the one that sits in your lap and you play it?
The lap fiddle?
The laptar?
Is it the laptar?
No, I can't remember what it is. It's got 3 strings, but anyways, they're both invented in the Appalachian Mountains. There's a lot of musical
Steel
instruments.
guitar?
No. I'll remember it whenever it's not necessary. Anything else good about Arkansas? We're the home of Walmart.
We are.
Sam Walton.
Sam Walton founded his Walmart stores in Bentonville.
Wow, we should do a whole fucking episode on Walmart.
Mm-hmm. Ooh, the Dover Lights. We should look into that.
The Dover Lights.
Near Dover, Arkansas is an overlook with a view of an Ozark Valley. Here appear the Dover Lights.
Dude,
unexplained
let's go.
phenomena that appears, flickers, and sways in various colors.
We should do an episode
Do a remote?
out there. Yeah. That'd be sweet.
A southern version of Bigfoot called the Boggy Creek Monster has been sighted near Fouke, Arkansas.
I don't know where that is, but I'm down.
It's said to be, so I know where Fouke is. Fouke is near Texarkana.
Okay.
Because my cousins used to live there.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. I lived in a town called Austin, Louisiana, which is close to Texarkana. Mm-hmm. And supposedly Bigfoot also frequented that. So he would go back and forth between the state lines.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was like an alcohol thing, like it couldn't get alcohol on his side of it. I don't know. But I remember I was in the 6th grade and I was hanging out with these people in the trailer park. And listening to her uncle, this girl named Hazel's uncle, tell the story about how he had encountered the Boggy Creek monster and talked about how he stunk and said that he would peer into his window when he was showering. And I was just like, I don't know if that was what you think it was. I think that was just a creepo. Yeah. And I'm not saying it wasn't Harry.
Uncle Roger.
It was just Uncle Roger.
Yeah.
You know, but so this is true. And this is, when I tell you this, you're going to be like, what the fuck? Because like, I know you think about stuff like this, but so
I know you think about stuff like this.
You'll see what I mean when I say what I gotta say here. Supposedly, the Boggy Creek monster was the story is that it would kidnap and eat African Americans.
Oh,
so a lot of people believe that the Falk monster was actually created to try to keep African Americans from settling in this southern town in Arkansas.
In this area?
Yeah.
Wow.
And it worked, by the way. It worked. Like,
there's the U.S. government has found a lot of other ways to do that.
Yeah.
A lot more efficient ways to do that.
Well, this was the old way of doing it. You know, like you just make up a monster, you say that it eats black people, and then
that's that. And then, like, woo, watch out, it's gonna eat white people. Like,
they do. They're called lions.
I'd be marching off in the woods, be like, let me see this motherfucker.
Come on, look.
Come on.
You know what? I'm wondering real quick. I'm going to see.
Out comes a big cigarette. a big Marlboro.
I'm looking at the Democrat. Oh yeah. So the demographic in Falk, Arkansas, right? So, it's 2%. This doesn't make any sense.
Dude, if you put enough white people concentrated in anywhere, that's going to convince almost every other group to be like, 100%. Fuck that. Dude, I would say fuck that. Like, dude, there's too many white people here. This is uncomfortable.
I would be the same way. Here we go. Oh, yeah, okay. So according to the most recent ACS, the racial composition of Falk, Arkansas is 93.8% white.
Jesus Christ.
And 0.46% black or African American.
Wow.
Less than 0.5% is African American.
Did they also mention that that's the head of the KKK?
No. But interestingly enough, there 3% are Native American. So there are more Native Americans in Falk, Arkansas than there are African Americans.
Wow.
0 Asians.
Nowhere else in the United States is it like that.
No, maybe Oklahoma.
Yeah, okay. Oklahoma, the Dakotas.
Yeah, but there's 40,000 people that live in Falk. So my point is make fun of it all you want, but it worked.
Yeah.
So, and it still works to this day. But you're right. I think what really kept the diversity the way it was that there is such a large concentration of one particular race.
Yeah.
That's why people are staying out. It's not.
Have you ever heard of the argument to create, to split the United States into several different countries?
You talking about where they, what do they call that?
I forget.
Because Texas is a republic. And so like that was the thing. It was like, that's why it was really called the Republic of Texas, because seceding from the nation or whatever. Yeah,
well,
seceding.
There's always been like Texas and California have always kind of talked about seceding, but
California can fuck off.
There's a whole like, there's a guy that has put together like a map of how he feels that it should be separated into like, I think it's like 7 or 8 different countries. There's like this Bubba, he had an opinion. Yeah, he did. But basically like the Northeast would be its own area. You'd have the Deep South. You'd have the Midwest.
It's already broken up like that. There's just no hard lines.
The idea of it though is that that people are going to generally segregate themselves.
Yeah.
Naturally. Like I wouldn't necessarily believe that I don't think that my ideas and my beliefs align with the ones that are common in this area. If you took like the stereotypical Southern Arkansas political and religious beliefs, I definitely don't align with that. So it would make more sense for me to live in a place, say like, I wouldn't go as extreme, but like Colorado, right? Yeah. That would be kind of a little bit more along to align my beliefs. So I would be more likely to move there and separate myself from this area. So he's saying, like, basically people are doing that on their own, and that's what's making everybody so separated and so aggressive towards each other.
Yeah,
and
it's tribal.
Right, and his solution is we separate it into several different countries, and that way the people in the South can make
their
money,
own rules.
Right, make money the way that they want to.
The last time we did
economy,
that,
right.
they enslaved an entire race of people.
Right.
Maybe not the best idea.
I hope that wouldn't happen again.
Give them a chance.
I don't. Well, if it were like this part of the country is called the Confederacy,
well,
then yes, that's probably what would happen.
On top of that, how many people have said the South will rise again?
Yeah.
Like if we did that, you'd have a bunch of guys going, "Told you so."
Yeah.
Like
that's true. It'd be all those idiots that are peeling out in Walmart parking lot with giant American flags on their F-150.
Now I'll tell you this: I got nothing against the giant American flag on an F-150. I do have a problem with people peeling out in Walmart parking lots.
Dude, you can't tell me that this is the saddest thing, honestly. And we have a big American flag hanging up behind.
That's
me.
right. God
But
bless it.
You see an American flag like that hanging up or on somebody's truck, you immediately think that guy's a fucking racist.
True.
You can't it's sad. It really is, because that's what my brain immediately goes to. When I see something like that.
You're not saying it's true. You're saying that the interpretation,
that's a stereotype. Yeah.
Stereotypically, you're going to be like that guy. Mm-hmm. No, I agree. And it gives good God-fearing rednecks like myself a bad name. So.
Well, to me, it's just like I don't want to hang out with that guy.
No. And neither does anyone else.
Right. Yeah.
That's why he's doing
Except
burnouts.
There's two in particular. They've got and they roll around together. They'll go to the Walmart parking lot up here and peel out, and
they've got to be teenagers.
Yeah, I think they're still in high school. Yeah. One's got a big old American flag. The other one's got a big old. I think he's got a "Don't Tread on Me" flag and a rebel flag.
There's in Cabot, the same thing happens in the Walmart parking lot there, and I'll just drive by and roll down my window and say, "Get a job." Way
to classify yourself as the lowest among the human race. You went to oh really? You're going to a Walmart parking lot to pick up girls with your giant fucking lifted truck?
In my defense, the town I grew up in.
Tell me that you met your fiance at a Walmart parking lot with your truck. Your lifted truck.
I met her. My first wife. I met her at Bennigan's. We were.
I don't even know what that is.
You don't know what Bennigan's is? Mm-mm. God damn it! You aren't American. It was one of the greatest restaurant chains ever in history. They had the.
I've never heard of it.
They had the.
Sounds delicious.
Well, it was. It was a deep fried ham and cheese sandwich.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Great.
It's called the Monte Cristo. That's what they called it.
That's where you met your ex-wife?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
She was a hostess as well.
How'd you meet your fiance?
My current one?
Yeah, Tinder?
It was at another restaurant called. No, I'm just kidding. No, her daughter started training at my jiu-jitsu school.
Oh yeah. I knew that. I remember you saying that.
But
that's a much more wholesome way.
It is.
I'm glad that happened.
I can't believe you never heard of Bennigan's.
And
you're only a couple of years younger than me.
I don't think I've ever talked to your fiance. I think I've been introduced to her, and that's it.
She's not social. She's not very social.
Me either.
Yeah, that's what happened. You put two unsocial people together.
Yeah. Honestly, I hate talking to people when we have a podcast together. Isn't that funny?
It is.
But if I don't know you, it's just
I'm the same way.
The process of getting to know somebody is fucking awful.
It is. It's like, oh.
Yeah.
I do enjoy talking, but I also
about me. I don't want to talk about you. I want to talk about me.
But I agree that I don't like the process of going through and meeting new people.
Yeah.
It's too much. I would rather just hang out with people I already know.
I think I take it. I say that word. This is going to end up being the longest episode ever, but whatever. I think it's because of the position that I'm in. When I meet new people, it's typically I'm the black belt on the mat. It's at my gym. I'm the coach, and so most of the time it's people like, "Yeah, I got into a street fight one time. Yeah. And I did this. Oh, hey, I subbed this guy the other day, and I did this and that." And I'm like, "Cool, bro, whatever." It's like There's a lot of that going on, or just a lot of conversation I don't give a fuck about. I'm sorry, I can't care about everything that's going on in your life. I love you, but I can't care about all of this.
Do you find that being in the position that you're in as a black belt instructor at your gym, it obviously puts you in a leadership position. Mm-hmm. Do you find that, do you ever get, because you were in bands and stuff like that, so you know what like groupies feel like.
Yeah.
Do you ever feel like you have like groupies?
So I had a kind of a conversation, something popped up this past week that kind of,
where people go out of their way to be around you, communicate with you, text you, message you, only because of your position and not necessarily like for any other reason.
Yeah, and I think that people get a skewed perspective of, we've talked about this before, of me in general. Mm-hmm. I had the conversation with one of my students, and I think he halfway believes it, but also it was kind of like picking on me because he's listened to the podcast, so he knows the deal. But he's like, oh yeah, you know, Johnny's a big time celebrity, blah 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 blah. And the kid next to him, who doesn't train at my gym but knows me and like doesn't listen to the podcast as far as I know, and but he's sitting there like, oh yeah, and just like agreeing with him. I was like, damn it, dude, like you're making this worse, you know. But it's silly stuff like that. Whereas I try really hard to, there is a line of like, I am a leader on my mats, and like my students know that like I'm there to coach and I'm there to be a leader, but they also know that I'm very approachable, and I'm like, that's where my friends are, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm there every day. That's all I do. So I don't have a choice but to make those people my friends. So I still have that friendship relationship. We talk shit to each other. We do all of that. And we know each other on that level, where I think a lot of gyms differ, and they don't know their coaches like that. They know their coaches as like what he says goes, you know. My one of my students moved out to Colorado, and he's been training at a gym out there. And one of the things I asked him, I was like, do they give motivational speeches at the end of every class? He's like, yeah. And I'm like, dude, there's no need for it. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, I'll say stuff every once in a while, like, guys, you know, everybody's doing real good. Remember this, that, and like, you know, these things need to happen. But dude, I've been at gyms where the class is 2 hours long, 1 hour of training and 1 hour of the coach talking and motivating them. Like, dude, I don't need that. Like, I need to go home and eat and think about these things, you know. But and that kind of environment has just always turned me off. I don't want to be a part of that.
Where's he training at? Is he in Colorado
he's in Colorado. He's training at Easton.
Okay.
Yeah. Which they have fantastic competitors.
Yeah, can't deny that.
No, and like I can't hate on their processes of creating champions, because they have more champions than I do.
Yep.
But things like one of their rules is you can't get up to go get water during a class. And
nope.
And that's kind of strange to me.
100%.
Like, why? What's the person's reasoning behind it is people use it as a crutch.
For what?
Well, I have seen it. People use the bathroom as a crutch. You're drilling, you're training. It's time to go hard. It's time to warm up. Oh, all of a sudden there's 10 people at the bathroom. 5 people need to go get water. But that's where I think your coaching abilities should be what changes that. The culture that you
have. Yeah, exactly. The culture it's a fine balance, because one, they just paid you money.
Yeah.
To use your facilities, to use your, you know what I mean? So like they're customers, you know, it'd be like, you know, Walmart doesn't get to tell you that you can't go to the bathroom, then go check out.
Right.
You know, like, but at the same time, you're right. It's a cultural thing. Like, because at some point it becomes a distraction.
Yeah.
You know,
you have to build the culture that you want in your gym.
Cultures are hard to build.
They are.
But
do you know why it's hard to build? Is because people won't lead by example.
Right. It has to be genuine.
They want to tell the people how to live the culture or be a part of the culture. That's why I don't have rules posted in my gym. I won't post them. And I've had the conversation back and forth with friends. I have things like no shoes on the mats. That's on the right before you get on the mats. It just says no shoes. But things like, you know, I've wanted to put up a poster that says like, be clean, do this, do that, do this. And then I started thinking about it. I was like, you know what? That's up to me to educate those people on how this works. You're a white belt coming in. You didn't know to take your shoes off before you stepped on the mat.
Happens all the time.
So now you need, speaking of which, you didn't know to put shoes on in the goddamn bathroom whenever you go to the bathroom when you train.
Which apparently is a problem at your gym.
It's not a problem. It's a problem if you're doing it.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a problem because we haven't allowed it to be a problem.
Oh, you're saying so it's not running rampant. People aren't just running around.
It's not running rampant in the gym. However, there are people that we catch all the time, and I have a girl that just yells their head off.
Good.
And I love it.
Good.
But it's like, use common sense. We've had to argue with people where people have been like, why? I'm like, does this not make sense to you?
How does this not make sense?
Do you make you pee in the toilet 100% of the time? Because I've never met anybody that has. And we have kids that train here too.
It goes back to, and I don't know why I do this. So I have a lot of really weird quirks about me. As somebody as socially outspoken as I am, I have very weird social anxieties. And one of which is I don't like when people say bless you when I sneeze.
Yeah.
Which causes me to hold most of my sneezes in so that I don't, because I feel like I'm like, well, now I made them feel like they have to say something.
Yeah.
Or if I'm behind somebody going into a building, I will purposely slow down to a pace that requires them not to have to hold the door open for me. Or I will speed up so that I don't have to hold the door open for other people.
Yeah. Because
then I'm in that weird situation where they do like the fake walk shuffle. It looks like they're running, but they're not really picking up the pace. And then you're holding the door open for them. And another one of those is I don't typically wash my hands after I pee.
Oh, because you don't pee on your hands?
Because I don't pee on my hands. But when there's other people in the bathroom,
yeah,
I will turn the water on and then turn it back off.
God damn it, Mitch.
But I don't put my hands under it, and I don't wash my...
That's disgusting.
Well, people will probably go like this. Dude, you've already done half the work.
Yeah.
Just put your hands under there. I don't know why I don't do it.
Yeah. I used to do that when I was a child. And then now I'm an adult, and I wash my hands. I wash my hands a little too much, probably.
See? That's probably where the issue comes in.
Yeah.
I'm just weird like that. I don't shower every day either.
I don't shower every day. That's normal.
I'm not... One can argue that I don't shower every week.
Oh.
On certain weeks.
Yeah. If I'm not training a lot, there's a good long time. I've been playing a lot of video games lately. There's not a lot of showering going on over here. I don't know if you can tell by my neck hair and the length of my hair, but
I hadn't paid attention.
The winter depression has hit. I'm full into winter. Dude, I seriously so Mitch came in and saw our living room. We have, it's the best fucking setup, dude. We did this last year, and then now we're addicted to it. But as soon as it gets cold, we have a fireplace. On top of the fireplace on the mantle is our TV, and then we take our bed out of the bedroom and put it on the floor in front of the fireplace, build a fire, and you're warm all... Oh, dude, it's
Do you not
incredible.
have central air and heat?
We do, but
Okay.
it's like we got hardwood floors, costs a lot to heat the whole place.
I gotcha.
And there's just something about like
You got a real fire, right?
Watching TV to a fire.
I'll give you that.
The problem is now our couch isn't set up in the living room.
Mm-hmm.
So then when I come home, I'm like, well, I'm not going to sit on the couch and do what? Stare at the fucking wall?
Right.
I'm going to lay in bed and play video games for the next 4-5 hours. And
Only
do
because
nothing.
your bed is now in your living room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it makes me like the laziest human being in the world. It's horrible, but I love it so much.
I don't do anything like that. In fact, I typically keep it about 65 degrees in my house at all times.
That's because you're a psychopath.
It's so awesome.
Hitler kept his house at 65 degrees. We should probably wrap up this episode.
Yeah.
It's 2 hours and 12 minutes. We really appreciate everybody's support on Patreon. And now that Mitch is back, we'll be pumping out content fairly regularly. I'd like to, honestly, the editing the videos wasn't that difficult. So I'd like to do one every week if we can.
Sure.
That's the goal. But we also need your support with that, and then we'll keep churning that stuff out regardless. I've got patches coming in for everybody that signed up for that too.
We'll have patches at the seminar, right? Patches and stickers.
So here's the deal with the patches.
I sent you money. I'm just kidding.
The sticker, those patches, that's for the Patreon patches. That's where all that went to. The issue right now is the logo, this logo right here. Mm-hmm. The lines are too small for the printer that my girl is using right now.
Okay.
She's doing dye sublimation. Basically, make a big sticker and put it on there. The printer that she's currently in like California looking at right now, like that's how serious this is getting.
That's
is
wild.
direct to garment.
I looked into those.
Which is basically how like a printer from your computer works. You put
It's
a t-shirt
the way to
in
do it.
and it comes out. So we can print any of that. I had to redesign another logo or like a patch. I sent it off to her. It didn't work out because of file formatting stuff. So I had to redesign it, send it back to her. We are working on it. I'm trying really hard to get that stuff done by then. If not, then I'll take your money anyways and send you some.
Yeah, we can do a pre-order.
Happen.
We can do a pre-order. And we'll just keep track of everybody because they're not expensive. Like you're not like losing a ton of money by giving it to us ahead of time.
Right. Provided we send you the patch.
And which we will.
The issue that we're having with it is just we're trying to do this the cheapest way because
we're punk rock, dude.
Yeah, well, and it is a lot of money to spend $100, $200 on patches up front. So we're working on it and we'll get that. It's all DIY. That's how we do things. Check us out on Instagram, the Rough and Tumble Podcast. Check us out on Patreon. Again, if you're looking for us on Patreon, the link should be on all of our social media stuff. But if you go on Patreon and you type in our full name, the Rough and Tumble Podcast, don't forget that beginning the, and you should be able to find us and then subscribe and start paying attention to our content. If you've got I need suggestions for good content on there too.
Yeah.
The only thing we have right now is like jiu-jitsu and self-defense videos. I'd really like to put out something different. I don't want to just do jiu-jitsu video.
I'd like to also see more interaction with the people who are listeners. So I mean, we encourage people to do this all the time, but imagine us as an avatar. So if there's like topics that you and your friends are talking about on the mat, let us know and we can talk about them here. And we won't yell at you and we won't lose your match. Right. Exactly. I feel like I gave pretty good sound advice. It helps with future disappointments. Yeah. You can only go prepare to be disappointed. That's right. But I always think it's so neat when we have people DM and give us like topics to talk about and discussions and stuff like that. It's fun. And so I really want to see more of that, people giving us things. I mean, just if you and your buddies or friends or girlfriends or whatever, you guys sitting around just talking shit and you're like, fuck, man, I bet Mitch and Johnny would love to talk about this. Send it to us. We'll talk about it. Also, I want to know who's from Finland listening. Yeah, if you're the listener from Finland, DM the Instagram. Yes, please, please, please. I want to know. That's so interesting to me. I agree. I think that's the coolest thing in the world. Maybe we can have you on to talk about Finnish things. Is that what they're Finnish? Yeah, they're Finnish. Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, you can talk about those things. Do they wear like clogs? You're thinking of Deutschland. That Deutschland is Germany. I meant. It's in Dutchland. The Dutch are from where? Amsterdam. That area. Yes. Amsterdam is a city, but what's the oh, give me a second. Amsterdam. Norway. We were specifically told not to do any more geography stuff because of this. This is why. Amsterdam is I know the goddamn name of the place. Norway. Where's Amsterdam at? Amsterdam. It's in the Republic of Amster. Right. I'm gonna. You keep thinking Belgium. No, I'm gonna look it up. It's where you're gonna feel like an idiot whenever I fucking Dutch from Jesus. Amsterdam. Oh, you are gonna feel dumb. Oh, it's so stupid. It's the capital city of this place too. Yeah, and like the Dutch are really good kickboxers too. It starts with an N. N. Mm-hmm. What? No, I don't know. Second letter is E. Netherlands. There you go. Jesus Christ. I know. I didn't think about it either. Man. I was like, what the hell? That's it. That's a country? Netherlands is a country or is that an area? According to this, I thought Netherlands. Amsterdam is the capital of the Netherlands. I thought that like encompassed like Norway and Sweden. Well, here's a map. Let me look at the map. There's a country named the Netherlands? It is in. Let me zoom out. Oh, man. Oh, yeah. The Netherlands is huge. I thought it was like... It's in Germany. New England. No, it isn't. It is in Germany. Amsterdam's not in Germany. Johnny, I'm looking at it right now. We're going to... Look. What is that word? Germany. What is that? Netherlands. It's like 14 miles. It's so far away from where it says Germany. There's got to be a border in there. Maybe what I meant to say was it's in Europe.
Is it? I don't know.
Is Germany in Europe?
I've solved why the people from Finland won't tell us that they're listening.
They're like, when you figure out where we are.
Yeah, when you stop being fucking idiots and learn basic geography.
Oh man, I am dumb.
Well, that's your geography lesson for today.
Yep. Amsterdam is in Germany.
Tune in. No, it's not. Tune in next week for another geography lesson. Thanks for listening.
See ya.
She's gone.